This is nice, man. I gotta say, man, I really love your setup. I feel like I'm at home. I feel like I'm kicking it.
I'm gonna grab a fucking beer, and that's the goal, man. Thank you again for the beer.
Yeah, of course, man. It's the least I could do. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, of course.
Might take a little sip of whatever you got too, man. Who knows?
Yeah, if you want some whiskey during the pod, let me know, and I'll go grab a couple glasses.
Hell yeah.
I'm proud to announce that the podcast is now officially
Can you hear me in
sponsored
your
by the
headset?
fine
Yeah, I can hear
people
you good.
over
Can you
at
hear me?
Chop
Yeah.
Chili
All right.
Company.
Okay,
Guys, this is
I
the
just
best
got
chili
mics
you can
too,
get
so
here in
now
the
I'm
state of
learning how to,
Mexico,
you
and they
know,
are
where to be
online
and
as
how to
well as
sound.
in stores.
It shows on the
They can be
live that
found
the ad
at
is rolling.
Smith's, Albertsons, Sprouts, John Brooks, and Lowe's Corner Market. They have 3 amazing flavors that you see here, and they also have frozen green chili that you can get online. Go on over to the website, chopchilico.com, and get yourself some amazing chili today.
Which, honestly, dude, don't even worry about playing the ad after. Yeah, don't even roll it, because we just did it. Fuck it. Fuck it. No, we just paid the bills, dude. All right, are we good?
The bills are paid.
Ad, bro.
Huh?
I already did the ad.
Yeah, have we been live?
Well, you were for like when I went like that. I don't think you were looking.
Yeah. Okay, so it shows live right now, so are we good to go?
Yeah.
And the thing's on me? Because I don't know how long the delay is yet, because I still need to do a lot of research.
Yeah.
But,
Well, it's on you.
okay. Fuck it. I trust you.
We are live.
All right, we're live, motherfuckers. All right, I ran late. I'll be real. I ran late because work kept me. But we're live here with Josh Griego. I want to get this plug right up front and center. You run your own podcast, Against the Grain. I dig it. And just as you were talking about my setup, I like yours.
Hey, thanks,
And,
man. I appreciate it.
I look forward to seeing it in person because I like the like everything you got on the walls, that neon sign you've got. You know, I
Thanks,
like all
man.
that shit, dude.
Yeah, I like to make it. I mean, this spot kind of reminds me of mine. It's like you just feel at home. You feel like you're hanging with the boys and the girls, and you just have a good time. You know, because if you want to keep a conversation flowing, you don't want it to feel like you're in a hospital room or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I really like your vibe, man. So thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on as a guest.
It's a pleasure, dude. Cheers. It's good to see you.
Yeah, cheers. Good to see you too.
Yes, sir.
Some midweek fun, right?
It's I gotta break up the monotony, dude.
Yeah, you have
This is
to.
like, fuck. Like I follow pretty much everything that Rogan and all his buddies do.
Yeah.
The podcasting and their stand-up. I've been a huge fan of stand-up for like as long as I found out about YouTube. Like I've been a fan of stand-up, you know.
That's so cool, man.
And there's this thing that his new comedy club posted, and it's
Oh, yeah, the Mothership?
Yeah, the Mothership, and they posted this reel where it was a drone flying through the club, giving you a whole like a tour.
Are you
I
kidding?
guess, right? Yeah, it's super sick, and there's a voiceover from Bill Burr, and it's like 3 minutes long.
Wow.
And the long story short of it is he's talking about how, you know, nothing like basically the only right move in life is to chase your dream, do what you actually want to do. And he's talking about how when he first started stand up, you know, one of the first like gigs,
Yeah,
quote unquote,
yeah.
that Bill Burr did was at this little comedy club, doesn't even exist anymore. It's off the side of the highway, and it paid him $8. And he was talking about how he could get through his shitty day job.
Yeah.
Not that my day job's shitty. I'm actually quite blessed with the job that I have. But he could get through the monotony of his day job because he had the kick-ass thing he's doing afterwards.
Right.
And that's exactly how
like
I
his
feel about
reward.
this. Exactly. It's the reward.
Yeah,
That's
you got to go through the mud sometimes, man, and then it makes the sunshine that much better.
Oh, yeah.
I'm right there with you, man. I mean, you know, you go through this, and then when you run the pod, it's like we do this for fun. We do this, and it's like it's getting to hang, it's getting to promote yourself. And, you know, shout out to the viewers, all the viewers that are live. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm sure you guys are probably wondering why I'm wearing these silly white sunglasses. I don't just wear these regularly. It's kind of part of our brand, Against the Grain podcast. It's actually Against the Grain Custom on YouTube. But part of our like promotion, our little gig is like we get our guests to wear these. I have like over 30 white sunglasses, and they're all different shapes and different colors. I mean, they're all white. They're all white.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like part of the fun is like I let our guests choose what type of sunglasses they want, and that's how we promote the pod. So it's kind of like a part of. Oh, is that the video? The vid?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh no, you're good. All right, so it's kind of like just like an extension of the pod. Like when we're wearing all these goofy white sunglasses, it's like an extension of Against the Grain,
Yeah.
So like I don't know, like down the road, like it could be like a marketing thing that we could do.
That's sick.
Just
So, okay, that's interesting.
and I promise I'm not gonna leave these on the whole pod.
You can do whatever the fuck you want, dude.
Everyone's like, why is that guy wearing sunglasses inside?
So I want to dig into what you just said a little bit, but let's kind of take it way, way back.
Yeah, let's
So
do
you
it.
said you started your podcast in 2019.
Yep.
What was the thought process? Like, what made you think about doing it? What was the step that made you actually start? Like, actually get in front of a camera and hit record? What was?
So I'm gonna go way back, like to when I was in 6th grade, and I first got a hold of a video camera that my parents just had like at our house, and this is around the time that Jackass came out, and I just loved filming cool stuff, and just we would like fill a shot glass full of lemon juice and take a shot and be like, yeah, like just as kids, so I always just had this thrill of like being on camera. And long story short, like it was around 2011, and I got a MacBook, and I was like, hey man, like me and my friend, I was like, let's just record ourselves talking, and we recorded it. We drank some beers, we had some fun, and come to find out it wasn't even recording the whole time. So like the whole podcast, we thought we were doing this thing, and I gave it up. I gave it up for years, and I've been a fan of Joe Rogan since about 2014. He had Kid Cudi on the podcast, and Kid Cudi was like a musician that I really admired like at the time, and he didn't have any interviews, he didn't have content other than his music. So Joe Rogan had him on for like 2 or 3 hours, and it kind of made me a fan of long-term conversation. And I run the podcast with a co-host. His name's Brandon. He's actually the one who kicked me in my ass and was like, dude, let's just do it right now. Let's just hit record. We do our podcast with an iPhone, and we had a stand, luckily, and we just ran it, man. And in our first episode, it's a pilot episode. Like, you'll even go back and look. It's just Against the Grain pilot. Yeah. And from there, we just had fun, and we just kept going, man. And it's been over 3 years now. And I mean, I'm sure like you've had your podcast for almost about the same time. Yeah, it's a blast,
about
right?
2.5 years. Yeah, it's sick, dude. And it's funny because I checked out a couple of your episodes, and I saw what I thought was cool about the first one, at least from my point of view, is that you had video for your first one.
Right.
And so he was actually the first guest that I had on the podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you actually do look familiar, man.
And, well, the funny thing is I've had him on a few times, right? But back on the very first episode, I had no idea, like, what equipment to get. I had no idea, like, what to buy, how to set it up, whatever. And so the goal was just to only spend $100, see how far I could get, and that gets you fucking nowhere. And
it's expensive, man.
Yeah, it is. And so I was like, okay, I think I ended up spending about $200 actually, because I still have it somewhere, but the little like sound mixer that I was using that I plugged into the computer, that was about $100. But like the 2 mics that I got, pieces of shit. The headphones that I had, I think were existing. I think like one was that gaming headset that he's wearing, then the other one was some other like just standard old headphones.
Yeah, just whatever you could plug in.
Exactly. And at the time, a buddy of mine, he still helps me out. Like he helps me out with the thumbnails and stuff like that. Templates for him. But a buddy of mine had agreed to go ahead and help me produce it. Yeah. And I was like, okay, sick. And so
that's cool.
These shitty little cameras that we had, though, that cost like $30 each. They came out of the back of a fucking Chinese warehouse, I'm sure, right? Got them on eBay, and I remember I had them all set up in my old condo in the kitchen. I remember he walked up the stairs and he sees these 2 little cameras set up, and he's like, "Are we filming a snuff film? What the fuck are you doing, man?"
Well, it's just a black leather couch. You're like, what are we doing?
Fucking weird, man. Just walk in there. There's 2 shitty cameras set up.
It was so bad.
Fucking
that's like humble beginnings, right?
Well, I took the footage and I sent that in the audio.
Right.
And I should have known the footage was bad because of how like small the file sizes were. Yeah. And I sent it to my buddy. He gets back to me 3 days later. He goes, "Dude,
we can't use this footage. Well, first of all, it's fucking orange, dude. Like, we can't use orange footage. I can't sync up the audio to the video. We're just doing an audio one first. Fuck
Oh
that,
my
Garrett.
gosh.
So the fact that you had a video one to start ahead of the game.
Hey, man, thank you. Hey, you got to start somewhere, and that's the best part about this is like the progression, right? Like you even look at like Joe Rogan's first episodes, like he has some like snow filter like randomly like on his first episodes. Like what people really want to tune into and what they care about is just the content, you know?
Yeah.
You can have everything, but like the relationship you have with the guests and the atmosphere that you set and the conversations that you have is what people tune in for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why your podcast has grown so big, is because you've developed that community that likes to tune in and hang out, you know?
Well, I appreciate that. I wouldn't call it big, but I appreciate that. And it's funny you bring up the early days of Rogan, because this got sent to me, and I'll put it on my story eventually. But it's a picture of him and Red Band, and that got sent to me by a listener, and I was like, damn, yeah, that's actually something to kind of remember.
Hell yeah.
You know, and I was so
That's like me and my co-host Brandon right now. Shout out Brandon. Love you, bro.
yeah,
That's awesome. man.
I'll throw it on the Dropbox.
Yeah, throw it up
so
there.
that Joey can pull it up. But
Dang.
it's fucking crazy, dude. And talk about progression. Like, I didn't know where this was going.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what this was going to be, and I still really don't. If I'm being honest, like, I didn't think this was going to go past a couple of months, to be honest. And do you know how to get to the drive folder?
Drive. I thought you were going to Dropbox.
Yeah, sorry. So just go on, like how I showed you over the phone, and then go to his file, and it's on there. Yeah, it's a cool thing to think about, man. That, like, everyone starts somewhere. Everyone has but I think it's a little deceiving now, just because of how popular podcasting has become.
Right.
Like, for instance, I had to run by Guitar Center a little earlier today because I had a set of headphones I didn't need anymore, because the ones you're wearing actually just got gifted to me.
Nice. They feel great.
by Johnny from the Sons of Harvard. His mom works for that company.
Okay.
And so she gave me a set of headphones.
They feel good, man.
Yo, I appreciate it. I'm glad you like them, dude. And so I didn't need them anymore. And I'm in the back of the Guitar Center looking at all this shit they have behind the counter.
Right.
And they had, the brand Rode.
Right, yeah.
RODE. Yeah, so they have this, like, podcasting starter kit.
Right.
And it's got this fat fucking mixer.
Is it the Roadcast?
Mm-hmm. It's the
we
Rode.
just got one.
Yeah, so you know how fucking expensive that shit is, right?
Yeah. Well, I got one. It was actually donated from a friend. I mean, I paid him, but he gave me like a stupid deal.
Well, because
it's huge, right? And all the colors, everything.
Well, right off the bat, that thing is like, whew, that's like a $400 piece of equipment right there, right?
Yeah.
And then so it comes with that, 2 mics and 2 headsets,
right?
And it's like $550.
Oh, it comes with all of that.
It's this podcasting starter kit.
That's genius,
for
man.
like $600. Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
But if you're someone who wants to start a podcast and you look at that thing, and on the front of the box, this is the problem I had with it.
What is that?
It says everything you need, and it's in big bold letters, underlined, need to start a podcast. And the price tag's like $600, and let's say what, $660 after tax?
Yeah, easily.
So it's like, okay, I love the idea, because I did have a bit of money back then when I was starting, and if I saw that, like, okay, I'm gonna buy that.
Right.
But for the average person that might think about doing this,
Yeah.
you don't need all that. You really don't. All you need is, because everyone has a fucking smartphone, right?
Yeah.
So all you need is an internet connection, a YouTube channel or a YouTube account, and
a phone.
Because
That's literally how our first like 30 episodes were on our pod. We didn't get mics until like not even recently. But like you don't even I mean, like, you can realize it once you get mics and it sounds really good. But, like, just to get started and get going and to see if you like it,
yes,
why not? Just press record.
Exactly. And you should that should be your fucking tag. Just press record.
Yeah, just press record. See what happens.
Well, because exactly, he just said, like, Lord forbid you're like, you know what? I'm gonna do a podcast. I haven't started, but if I'm gonna do it,
right,
I'm gonna have all the top of the line shit. I'm going to buy all the cool equipment.
Right.
And say you have that money, or you just don't give a fuck about your debt like me.
Right.
And you just fucking buy all that
Might as well
stuff.
just keep going.
And you just start it. It's like, well, what if you start it, you don't like it? And it's like, damn it. Now I'm what, $1,000 in the hole?
Yeah, that happens a lot, man. That happens a lot. There's a lot of podcasts that are right off the rip, first episode, the most highly produced thing. And then they don't realize how much time and effort goes into editing behind the scenes. And it's not just, that like you have a producer who's kicking butt. But like if you just want to start, you know what I mean? Just start and see if you like it.
Yeah.
Do one episode, see if you get the feels of it. Because you don't want to overly stress yourself off right off the rip.
Yeah.
You want to go into it and see if you like it. Then you progress, Then you start adding little things. You add a mic. And then the people who are with you, who are watching, they're loyal, Like the people who are watching, they're like cheering you on. They're encouraging you.
Yes.
And I feel like we both got that kind of community. We started like at home base.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of expanding a little bit.
Well, and that's exactly it. Is you add to it, you build, you learn. It's all a learning process.
Right.
And looking back on it, I definitely could have done a little research about people and reached out to see who around Albuquerque knows about this. But I mean, half the fun of this, like it took a long time, but half the fun of this has been learning how to do it myself, learning how to, because I needed my buddy, like I said in the beginning, to help me produce it, help me, because the audio still was trash. And he works from home. Like he does coding, he does software engineering, he's a musician, so he knows how to mix and master his own stuff. So he has like a home studio that's like 20 G's worth of shit.
Damn.
Oh yeah. And so he thankfully was mixing and mastering all the audio from the beginning.
That's cool, man.
But
it's not easy. I mean, it sounds simple, but it's really not. Like I'm even that like now with my roadcast. Yeah. Like even just making the audio match, like at first, like if you don't know what you're doing. Yeah. You're like, what is this?
Yeah, and that's why I will say this every time it comes up because it's the fucking truth. I am so thankful that I've got dope friends. Yeah. Like right now, it's him and David that'll sit behind there. I want to try to get our other roommate. Right. He's off on shift right now. I think he's an EMT guy.
Shout out to production.
Yeah, I want to get him behind the little producer station here to show him how to do it and how to run it, because I know he wants to.
I think that's so cool, man.
But like what's sick about having them back there now is like I don't have to fucking edit anymore. Right. Like up until literally 3 weeks ago, it was shoot, rip it all off the SD cards, throw it on the computer, and then spend hours fucking editing and putting all this stuff together, clipping, uploading all this stuff. And now, when we cut the feed and we're done, this episode's up.
Yeah, and I think that's so cool, man.
And all I got to worry about is clipping.
On to the next one.
Exactly. And it's just a fucking blessing. Because, like, that Rodecaster that you have, I would have bought one of those had I known about it. Yeah. Just because it's... So if you look, the little black box, that's an ATEM. And then we got a pod track next to it. So it's video and audio separate. That Rodecaster does everything.
Yeah. So if you just plug directly into it, right? It's
and so if you get some cameras, or you have cameras, but if you get those cameras hooked up to that Rodecaster, if I remember it correctly, what's nice about it is the ATEM does it too. Right. Let's say one camera pumps out at fucking 4K 60 frames, and the other one only does 1080p at 30. It'll bring that other camera. It'll make them match. So,
that's what I heard. I'm still messing with it. I've only edited a couple, and I got so frustrated I just sent it to one of my tech homies.
Yes.
Like, I was just like, I'm sick of this, man. Yeah. And I just sent it over and he sent it back. He's like, oh, I did it in like 10 minutes. I'm like, just thank you, bro.
So yeah, if you set it up, literally all you got to do is get that hooked up to your computer and you'll live stream.
That's cool, man. I'm going to start playing with it more. And that's something that, I'm like leaning more towards just, let's just have a good time, show up, do it. Yeah. But I have everything. I just need to put my foot down and do it. So hopefully, I mean, if we get you on as a guest,
I would love to.
In the near future, we'll have you set up with a mic and everything. So
I'll show you how to do it, man. It's the shit, and
you'll be a guest and a producer.
The feeling of fucking gratification that I got knowing that there is no more editing. Yeah. Because I loved doing the podcast for the last 2 years. Yeah. I loved having like conversations and fun. But there was always this feeling right after we got about 2.5 hours into it. It was like, oh, this is gonna be a long night of editing.
Yeah.
Fuck. And then like we did a couple where they went up to about 3.5 to 4 hours long.
Yeah.
I think the longest I've gone is with my buddy Springer, and we went to about, what was that, 4.5 hours, Joey? We went with Springer?
Which part?
Exactly. So the one we had to carry him out to the truck.
Oh man.
Because we went to like fucking 2 a.m.
Yeah, that was like 3 hours, 4 hours. It was long.
It was so much fun.
Heck
and we got
yeah.
so drunk, and it was great.
Yeah.
But like that took me like 3 days to edit, dude. It was a bitch.
Was it worth it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
So what is your progression like? Let's talk tech, and because we have a bit, so
Right.
tech, and then your growth as like having guests on, having more interaction.
Right.
Like what has that growth been like for you personally?
I think so. What we kind of make our brand around, I mean, against the grain, what that means, because people are like, what does it mean? What's your podcast about? What do you guys talk about? What's your, every podcast has a theme and whatnot. But we just wanted to get people that we enjoyed talking to. And like everyone is against the grain if you think about it. Everyone carves their own path in life. People who are individuals who just make their own way and have a good time, that's going against the grain, right? Like when everyone's going one way, you're going the other. You're stopping, analyzing. And we just wanted to start internally, like you had your friends on first.
Yeah.
And then grow out, and then so we started off with just me and Brandon. We did the first 10 episodes, just me and him, because we wanted our community to get our relationship first. Before we started pulling people in, we wanted them to know who we were and how we kind of talked.
Because it's the Coast co-host setup.
Yeah, exactly. And I've done episodes without him, but he's been on most of them. He's in the military, so he had to leave for like a year or so. But
No.
we just did. Up until recently, we just did an iPhone and a tripod, literally.
Yeah.
And I'm not even kidding you. Like, we still just do an iPhone and like a cheap mic sometimes. We've used the Rodecaster like twice, but this is within 3 years, right? So like within the span of 3 years, we've just set up an iPhone and a tripod. And it's so funny. Like when our guests come over, they're like, this is it? Like, this is all you got? Like, because you watch the podcast and you're a fan.
That is such a fucking, because your quality is good.
Yeah, but you don't know, right? You don't know people's setup. And they just show up. I mean, this is like people that, I won't say like names or whatever, but like people that they think that it's this big grandiose thing, and you show up and it's like, this is it, man. You're ready to hang. And it's cool because it's like humble beginnings. You know what I mean? If you're a fan of us now, like this is only the first 3 years, man. We're taking baby steps. And so as far as like the tech goes and stuff, the goal would be, of course, to, have a producer like you do and stuff down the road. But like you said, I don't know where this is going. We just keep going, and we kind of just let it drive itself.
Yeah. So you do, because you had a plan, it sounds like to do, and that's very smart to show like a relationship between the two hosts, what you guys are like.
Yeah.
Fuck, if you're doing 10 episodes, each one's probably at least averaging an hour.
Yeah.
Right?
We try to hit an hour.
And
it flies by.
Yeah, it goes like that. I think our first one, Joey, was 3 hours, 2.5, and that flew.
Yeah.
It flew quick.
Isn't it crazy, like, when your guests get on and they're like, I don't know if I could talk for an hour. They're, like, all nervous.
Oh, there's some that can't. I'm kidding. But, no, it's it's crazy how quick time can fly like that when the conversation is organic, smooth, and, so you do 10 episodes, 10 hours of content. When did you start deciding that it was like, all right, now we're going to try? Was it episode 11 that you decided to bring guests? I don't know if it was
episode 11, and I could even be wrong. We probably didn't get a guest to like episode 12, whatnot. But I kind of had a plan on, okay, we start internally and then we expand. I didn't want to reach out to like people that were, really popular or had a lot of views right away, because I wanted us to kind of grow first so they have some content to look back on and be like, oh, these guys have... So I said, like, with Brandon, like, let's just get our closest friends on. People that we know we could talk to, but also we'll put a shine on their lives. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have to be selling a product or be, doing some grandiose thing. Let's just make a shine on who they are as a person. And that's kind of like our motto is like, everyone has a story to tell.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who you are. You could get someone off the street. They have some story on where they got to and where they grew up. And I always like grew up wanting to see more like videos or pictures of like my grandparents, and it didn't exist. It doesn't exist. The conversations like this of like I would do anything to see like my grandpa or grandma or just a lost loved one talk, and have like a video. And I just thought, how cool would it be to just do it now while we're young and living our best lives. Just kidding. But, it's like a documentation or a documentary of like where you are at that moment. Like it would be cool to, and then just see the growth as we, because we're young right now. We're young.
Yeah.
If we keep doing this, it's kind of funny to even look back like on your first episode.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
what
funny for other people, not fun for me. I look back and I'm like, God, it's rough.
Time flies when you're having fun and having good conversations.
Oh yeah. Like I posted a clip of an older episode.
Yeah.
For maybe like a year ago or so.
Yeah.
And I was maybe at the time, I couldn't have been a month away from my bodybuilding competition that I was doing.
Oh, nice.
And dude, my fucking my face is like shriveled and shrunken in. Man. I'm so fucking skinny.
Like anorexic.
Oh yeah, I'm fucking anorexic looking,
but shredded.
My voice is super high, like super high pitched, because I was not only was I losing weight like crazy, because I was in that video that I posted yesterday, I was probably like 155 ish, 154. And right now I'm sitting at 190.
Nice.
Yeah, and I hadn't started testosterone yet.
Oh, okay.
So my voice is super fucking high, and it's like nasally almost. I'm like,
hello guys, welcome to Sketchathon.
I know exactly.
That's awesome.
It was fucking bad, but no, the progression is cool. I agree.
Man.
It's super sick. And so one thing I am curious about, because I've ran into this a couple of times, for better or worse, because I've had fucking really great episodes where I've expected this, or I've ran into this, and I've had other episodes that weren't bad, but I wasn't a great conversationalist, or I wasn't very sure of myself, and they were super nervous. It was just kind of just this melting pot of like insecurity almost, and just nervousness, where like we're going through the conversation, or maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes in, and I like, because whether it's on a fucking podcast or in real life, you can feel when a conversation is abruptly stopping. It's like crumbling from the inside.
Yep, the words just disappear. You're hopping on your last word. Like,
yes. And
so, how about this New Mexico weather? Just kidding.
What goes through your brain, and then what's your strategy to like get the conversation back on track and in a new direction? Because have you ran into that where your brain's like, oh fuck, it's ending, I don't want it to yet?
I have, and I don't know. I kind of black out sometimes. Like, have you ever had an interview and you leave the place and you're like, what did I just say?
Every episode.
You know what I mean?
Every episode.
So that happens to me. And I don't...
No disrespect to like anyone I've had on the podcast, but I don't remember what we talk about. It's maybe like 3 hours later. Because when we're done, I'm like, oh, that was a great time. And if you were to ask me immediately, what do we talk about? I don't, dude, it's 7.
Right. I as far as strategies go, I try my best to just going into the conversation, at least have 5 subjects I know I could pull out of my pocket.
Keep talking. I'm just gonna put the banner back up.
No, you're good. So I'll have these subjects in my back pocket, and if we start on one and we stay on one, that's great. But you just keep going until they run out. But like I said, man, I just black out every episode. You don't know where the conversation's gonna go, and that's why I wanted to start off like with people that I knew first. Lately I've been having guests on that I meet, like kind of how me and you just met, where you meet them that day and then you just go into it. And I could see where you're coming from. Like when you first meet someone, you don't know like even their sense of humor.
Yeah.
You don't know their religion. You don't know, like, I think so recently, like, how you had a Decon on? on your pod, and I had Decon on not too long ago, but I didn't know like he was a Mormon.
Yeah.
And I like he said he was like from Utah, and I like said some like I didn't like dog on them, and he was like, yeah, I'm Mormon, and I was like, oh dude, I should have done my research. Like I didn't know, but you know you're learning as you go, so it's fun though, man. You gotta like take it as a challenge.
No, it is.
And every challenge you learn more how to communicate, and that just helps you in real life.
No, I agree. And how do I put this? Like, yeah, that's kind of what's gotten me through a lot of weird situations is my ability to talk my way out of them.
Right.
And so
Getting pulled over. I'm just kidding.
yeah, no, so getting pulled over, going through jobs. I mean, fuck, I spent 6 years at a fucking military school. So I had to learn quick how to talk my way out of really sticky situations.
Yeah.
And so it's a new challenge for sure. Because it's never like, I don't think, like, has there, to your recollection, has there ever been like a hostile confrontation on the podcast? Like where
There
it's
is
been
right now.
like super like butting heads, or it's never been weird like that.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think the closest we got was what's her name? Christy's friend that came with her.
Shout out to Christy's friend.
Oh yeah. Well, what was sick about that was I had said some things. What's funny because like I didn't expect to get any messages or any comments or any feedback.
So this is after the pod? Or?
So this is before.
Okay.
So this is like episode fucking 3, maybe episode 4.
So right at the beginning.
Right at the beginning, I did an episode with somebody, and I got a DM from someone who is like fucking hyper left, very social justice, very.
So there's certain words that are certain things that you just
because I had said some things about transgenders they didn't agree with.
Yeah,
and you know, to each their own. I mean, live your life, to be honest.
Right.
But I said something, and I stand by everything that I've said about stuff like that. Like I'm not married to any ideas, but there's a couple of things like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be injecting kids with hormones yet.
Right.
Maybe that's not a good idea. Like, I don't think that's a good idea.
And so that came up on the podcast.
So that come up, and this person saw it on this, out of like the fucking 2.5 hours that I had went with this person, that's what they saw. Or either that's what they saw, or that's what they decided to extrapolate from that conversation. Nothing else. And so I get a message about how I'm a fucking transphobe, and I'm a bigot, and I'm like this, that, and the other. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to say you're right. I'm not going to say you're wrong either. Hey, listen, you can look at my page. You see how many views I have there. I have that many, right? I have that many. I back then I had this many. Right now I have that many, right?
Every inch counts.
Exactly. Whew. Women need to learn that, dude. But I was like, you are more than welcome to come by. We can have this conversation. Obviously, it never happened because that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Except for the time that my friend Christy came on, and she had brought her friend, who his name's Isaiah. Loved this guy to death. Gay as the day is long, and he fucking owns it. Like, he's super nice guy. His signature's on here somewhere. Hey, if you want to, talk about some things, I'm more than welcome to. I'd be more than down to come on. I'm like, whatever you want, dude, we'll do it.
Dang.
So we don't get it scheduled.
Don't back down to a challenge. I like that.
Yeah, so we don't get it scheduled to maybe like 4 months later or so, 4 or 5 months later.
Yeah.
And he came on, and what I thought was gonna be a super like butting heads the whole time, never like that type of deal. It was we had some disagreements, and we left with disagreements, but we also left on a middle ground, which was my goal.
That's cool, man.
Exactly.
It's hard. You don't realize it, but when you just narrow it down to one human and another human, you guys actually have more in common than you think.
Exactly.
And we let the crowd kind of drive our thoughts, and we think you're just the face of this crowd, and you're bad and I'm good, and I think that's so cool that you bridged that gap, though.
No, it was a good time, man, and that's what one of the reasons why I started doing this is because of the fact that I really do believe that, especially today, that America isn't like, I'm starting to believe that America is not divided. That I would say 80% of us are more or less in the middle, like middle leaning left, middle leaning right, whatever. And it's these very vocal minorities that make up 10% of the hyper left and the hyper right. And because of everything they say inherently is so inflammatory and so clickbaity, and it's so easy to make headlines out
the
of.
algorithm,
Yeah.
they just shoot the most crazy stuff to the top.
The algorithms will highlight it. The mainstream media will make story after story on it. And that, like you just said, those become the figureheads. Those become the faces of those side of the political aisles.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's like, okay, yeah, it's okay to disagree on stuff, but then, most of the time, people just want to be able to live their life, make enough money to hit their standards of whatever those standards are, and they want to be left alone. I think a lot of people, at the end of the day, they want to get left alone.
Yeah, just let me live my life. Don't tell me what to do. Like you said, to each his own.
Yes.
We're just trying to get through this, man. We're on a spinning rock in the middle of freaking space. We're just trying to live our best life without, fighting with each other.
Yeah.
Maybe one day raise a family. And I was just talking with my girlfriend about this. You just leave this earth a little bit better, make it just a little bit better. Pass some things down that, and that's why, this podcast too.
Yeah.
What we're saying right now is going to be off into the void. Into the void.
We're literally speaking.
Some
into the
aliens
void
listening to this right now on planet 3197. Shout out. Just kidding.
Yo, those motherfuckers are hovering, dude. They're watching everything that's going down.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, wait a minute.
Look at these two idiots.
No, they're like, look at these band of fucking morons that they call themselves humans and they have nukes. This is getting bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Funny. And their leader can't walk up a stairwell. What's going on? I'm just kidding.
No, it's a weird time to be alive. And like, it's so, and I still really can't wrap my head around it, because obviously with like TikTok has shown us that the dominant form of media right now is in 5 to 30-second bites that you can just keep getting new videos, new content. This hits a dopamine, and you know what I mean? But then like on the direct opposite end of that spectrum is there's this huge demand and there's a huge interest and entrepreneurial side of it where it's like, no, people also, for whatever reason, they also want anywhere between 1 and 6 hours of content, of long form conversation, specifically. Like the movie industry can't figure out how to make a movie longer than 2.5 hours, 3 hours to put that in the theaters, make that sell. But people will gladly listen to a 3, 4, 5 hour long podcast.
Yeah, that is so true. It is crazy because, and I feel like that opposite spectrum, it's weird because they're both growing. I feel like clips are growing at an exponential rate, but then also, I mean, there's a reason why everyone has a podcast now, and why JRE is so popular is because people just crave to learn things through conversation. Like me, I hate reading books, man. I just hate it. I have audiobooks, I try and learn, but I don't know why. I just digest information better through conversation. And so whenever, Joe Rogan has guests on, I always bring up Joe Rogan, but I watch so many podcasts, so many, I mean, from MMA podcasts to whatever, but I just soak it in, and I think there is just a true craving for long-term conversation. And it's fun, man. It's fun. It's cool to see people and even combat with each other. Yeah. You see two, like, all purposely.
Well, that's why Ben Shapiro is fucking famous.
Yep, exactly.
That's exactly why he's famous.
And I even like purposely will watch something that I disagree with, or I'm like not a big fan, but I'll really just try and digest the opposite of what I believe. Not so I can counter it, but just so I can try and understand. Because there's a reason why that person believes what they believe. They didn't get those thoughts out of thin air. You know what I mean? So you want to just learn, and then it just helps you communicate more, be better in life.
No, you're one.
But I think the youth is craving that,
Yes. Well, I agree. So I agree with everything you just said. I listen and watch podcasts. I listen and watch podcasts because I suck at reading and I don't like it. I love comic books, and if I have to read a real book, I will. But it's very challenging for me. And but you're right. It's super important to sit down and digest things you like specifically do not agree with. Because you're right. There is a reason that people are. I wouldn't even say think the way they do or believe the things they're saying. 'Cause I think half the time when it's on those extremes, those like, again, the hyper left or the hyper right. I don't think they actually believe that. No, don't get me wrong. There are people that are just bona fide racists, right? Just bona fide bigots that are just not good people. And for whatever, not even not good people, but like for whatever reason, whether they were raised that way, they had a bad interaction with a certain group of people or a person from a group of people. There are people that just exist that do not like the other. Right. That exists.
It's
for
just right
sure.
there. They're not crossing that line no matter what.
And then there's also people who completely agree with the hypersexualization of everything.
Right.
And they think everything should be free and there are no borders and there's all that, like there's all that stuff.
You can marry a rock if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. You can marry your fucking dog or you can marry an inanimate object. Like there are people who say these things.
Right.
And I think with people like that, outside of the small percentage that truly believe it, I think it's just mainly people that hear something and then just their mindset is, well, if I regurgitate that and it gets seen by enough people, I'm now a part of the in crowd.
Right.
I'm now a part of this group that is either being marginalized, so I can claim to be a victim or claim to be oppressed, or I can say this thing, be accepted by a group, and then I become accepted by a group that is being like exalted.
You get that instant validation.
Validation.
Yeah,
exactly.
You get that. Boom. Hey, this person said this. If I say something similar, but not quite the same, maybe I'll get the same response.
Exactly.
But these people don't go against the grain. These people need to stand up for themselves.
Well, there's some
say what you truly believe.
Well, there's some critical thinking that needs to happen, and with a lot of people like that, they don't believe anything.
Yeah,
they're not attached to anything. Yeah. They're attached to validation.
Right.
They're attached to being current, being popular, and in whatever form that comes in, whether it's their family, they're accepted there, their workplace, their social. The people they go out and drink with on the weekends. As long as you're accepted in whatever you think you need to be accepted in, you know, you're going to become that. Or hopefully, right, you want to become that. And there's this thing that, this guy may or may not just be a horrible fucking person that's yet to be seen.
Yeah.
But there's something that Andrew Tate said that I really fucking agree with.
What did he say?
That when you really sit down
get in my Bugatti
and you think about where did you just had a thought. You just said something that is ideological. Where did that come from? Did you organically think that? Like, have you gone through life experience? Have you endured some things? Have you gone places that actually make you believe that? Or did you hear that on a podcast? Or did you just hear your favorite celebrity say that? Right. And it's like, hey, that sounds good enough to me.
Yeah, that is true, because we're talking about retweeting stuff or putting posts that we want for validation, but we don't realize in our conversations we're doing the same thing. We don't even realize it. Yeah. Like we're saying stuff that we heard on a podcast and it sounded good to us, and then we make it our own.
Well, and that's what I love about doing this is I think people generally, most people have a decent 15 to 30 minutes of bullshit in them. When you sit down with somebody,
I think they've got an hour.
I think they've got 15 to 30 minutes of bullshit.
Yeah.
Until it's like, oh wait, okay, I've ran out of all my pre-saved answers, and now I got to actually think for myself.
Yep.
And that's a little scary if you've never done that before.
Yeah, it is.
Like
because you have to look in the mirror almost, and you're like, oh my gosh,
I know nothing.
I know nothing.
I know nothing. And for some people, that's scary. And for other people, it's exciting. And for me, it was both. Because again, because me and Joey, we both went to the same military school. And you get thrown into those scenarios, at least when we went there. That place is actively burning right now. But oh yeah, it's
like
bad.
Literally, or
not literally. I'm sure. Well, it's
someone.
But as a 14-year-old, and you're being asked to critically think. It's a very scary thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember we had talked about this when we had done an episode last, but I remember being in those scenarios at the time. Obviously, I'm young, I'm dumb, I don't know a whole lot, I have no life experience, and I hardly have any now. But back then, I was like, fuck, man, like, especially as you go on from like your sophomore, junior, senior year of high school, I was like, fuck, like, I have friends. And because this school was down in fucking Roswell, New Mexico, a little shitty town. Have you ever been to Roswell?
Yeah.
Oh God, it's bad.
Couple times.
It's
yeah.
bad, right?
They got a pretty cool McDonald's though. They got that UFO McDonald's. Shout out to that slide.
It's all fucking rusted over and bad.
Yeah,
now,
it's probably
dude.
bad right now.
But like,
Probably still got that's got COVID at its purest form on those slides right now.
dude, they have not cleaned a fucking McDonald's. What they call it, the play place? I don't know. They haven't cleaned a McDonald's play place since the 50s, dude. I swear.
Yeah.
But no, like I remember getting thrown in the scenarios where I have to think for myself as a kid, and I'm like, fuck, dude, I got friends in Albuquerque going to regular high school. They just fucking smoke pot all day, get A's in their classes. They don't do shit. They do jack shit. It's like, why the fuck am I here? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
it's hard, man.
It's a weird thing.
You know what's helped me, like with critically thinking, and like you said, like you have 30 minutes of, you know, whatever you can regurgitate, and then you have to and I did this. It's kind of a crazy story. So the first episode we did on Against the Grain, me and my co-host, we both did the float tank, and I had been doing it for a while, but we both like had this. We went on this crazy hike, and we did the float tank. And
so did you do like a professional float tank? Did you make your own?
No, there's a place in Albuquerque I go to. It's called Lumen Float, and they have the largest cabins in Albuquerque. And so it's just
Can you pull that up? I want to check.
It's called Lumen Float or Lumen Wellness, Lumen Health and Wellness.
Did I see that on your Instagram where you went and got your fucking nerves redone or some shit?
So no, well,
Like you had these fucking needles.
I've been
put in
going
you?
through a lot of procedures not related to this because of snowboarding and wrestling and a lifetime of just killing myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was something totally separate. But at Lumen, they have a bunch of different things. Like they have a sauna, they have the float tanks, they have, and you know, obviously you listen to podcasts long enough, you get curious about what a float tank is, right? And so they have these cabins with this water that's filled up like maybe 2 feet deep, maybe less than 2 feet.
It's on the It's on the OBS. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, you're good.
And
fancy equipment trips us up all the time, dude.
No, you're good, bro. This is awesome. It's cool getting to see it while I'm talking about it because then I'm thinking about it more. But they, you know, I mean, I don't know if you know how float tanks are, but they just have like over 600 to 700 pounds of Epsom salt, if not more. I don't even know the amount, but it's enough to make you not float in water. Like you could try and sink and you're just stuck floating.
Yeah, the buoyancy is permanent, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you go in and they start off with this like calm chimes. That's it. That's my cabin right there. That's where Against the Grain was birthed in my head. Just kidding.
How much do you pay to go in there for a session?
I don't know. I think they're probably like $60 now, maybe more.
I'm gonna go try that shit.
But I'm telling you. So, anyways, what I was getting to about this is like when you start, there's this music, right? And it's like calm blue lights, neon lights, and it slowly chimes away over the span of like 10 minutes.
Ooh.
So you're like, oh, this is nice. And then you're in pitch dark for over an hour. So you're in pitch dark, floating in a pool of darkness, and you can't feel your body. So at first you're trying to get comfortable. You like, you know, you feel your hands, whatever. And you're having these thoughts. You're like, what am I here for? And all these thoughts come, right? After like 15 minutes, you like run out of thoughts like of your own, and then thoughts start coming in. So these
don't like that.
But it's cool. It's like, you know, they just come like ideas and bubbles, and you know, it's just a cool experience because you get anxiety for the first 15 minutes. You're like, oh my God, I'm in pitch. Like you just start talking to yourself, and then the Epsom salt starts sinking in, and you start breathing, and then you get relaxed. And then after a while, you honestly can't feel your body. It literally feels like you're just floating in outer space. And then every now and then, your like pinky toe will like touch the side of the cabin, and you're like, "Whoa, that's my body," you know. So yeah, shout out to Lumen Float. I haven't been there in a while, but if I have like a upcoming interview or something big in life that I want to work through, I'll go to Lumen Float and go into outer space and talk with the aliens in the float tank.
That's crazy because I've always wanted to try shit like that. Like
it's expensive, man, but
I mean, but for what you're getting, so let's say you're doing your first session, and I'm just predicting what will happen to me,
right?
Do some experiences that I can't talk about yet that I've had, but let's say you're doing it, you get that anxiety, you're going through, or maybe like whether it's you have a bad experience, you want to get out halfway through, or you just don't like it and you want to get it. Can you pull the cord and get out of there?
You can, dude.
Or do they just fucking latch you in?
No, you literally just sit up and you're like, you're like sitting in a pool and you just open up the door. But when you lay down, it feels like you're floating in like deep water. So all you have to do if you panic, you just sit up and you're good. So at any moment you could walk out. You're not like tied to that. But
thank God. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, but it just helps. I've like really been on this. I mean, I just turned. I'm gonna turn 30 this year, and my
Does he look 29 to you? How old? Dude, about to turn 30 this year.
I don't know. Numbers just the thing.
What is your fucking skincare routine, dude? You look fucking 25.
I don't know, man. Shout out to Jameson and Santa Fe Brewing Company. No, I'm just kidding.
You about to turn 30 this year?
Yeah, man.
Damn.
Yeah. So, I mean, my body, I mean, I don't know how old you are, but once 25? I hit like 25, all of these injuries start coming. And I've dealt with like life-changing injuries that have forced me to go down this path. I used to be heavy into snowboarding when I was younger, like super heavy into snowboarding.
They all love snowboarding.
Half pipes, rails, everything. I thought I was invincible. And I got on this like life-changing, I had this life-changing injury where they had to take out 6 of my ribs. 6 of my floating ribs. Like I just hit the ground so hard on the ice. And I was dealing with problems for years. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And
okay, so
wait, sorry.
Yeah. We got
all of your floating ribs.
So 3 on each side. Yeah. So they didn't take them out from my spine. Yeah, I don't know.
There's 12 ribs for 12 ribs.
Well, I'm talking about specifically how many floating ribs do you?
3 on each side.
Jesus. Yeah, so they didn't take them out from my spine, but they took out like that much of each of them. And so the reason they did that is because I had hit the ice so hard that they like basically got detached like on my back. So my floating ribs were just growing in like into my stomach and my organs.
To the point where it eventually punctured.
Dude, I was just sick. And I thought it was my stomach for like at least 2 years. And I just kept living with it. And finally they gave me an ultrasound. Because your floating ribs are like made out of cartilage mainly. So you can't you see an x-ray, it looks fine.
No, yeah, I just literally, I tore one deadlift.
Did you really?
I tore a muscle in my floating ribs deadlifting.
Oh, man. That is the worst trauma that you could go through.
It sucked, but it was like, it wasn't fucking what you did.
Like when you breathe and it hurts, that's not chill. But anyways, that's kind of like that's what drove me into getting into like super health stuff, you know? Anything that I could make like my health a little bit better and just feel a little bit better throughout the day, I would do that. So I've been taking like vitamin IVs, float tanks, whatnot. But yeah, man, for a year I was down and out. They actually went in and they said they had a plan, right? They're like, we're gonna take out these 3 floating ribs because they're bad. I had to go to Phoenix to get it done. And when I woke up from the surgery, they're like, we had to take out 6 of them. They're like, your other side was just as bad. We didn't know till we went in there.
So we promised you like 1 maybe, but bro, you're so fucked.
I was so pissed. I was like, can I keep them? Make a necklace? They're like, no, it's our property now. I was like, what?
Oh, what the fuck?
Dude, have like a sick
your property?
Know. Yeah.
That's some bullshit.
My body, my rules. That's what I told them and they didn't.
It's my body, my choice.
Yeah. But anyways,
if they can kill kids, I should keep my ribs. The fuck?
I know, man. I said like if Adam, could get a wife with 1 ribs, does that mean I get 6? But no, I got one beautiful girlfriend who's worth 6 ribs. So thank you.
That's called covering your ass right there, folks. That's called securing her by the time he gets home.
Yo, shout out to Kiana. She's probably watching this live. Hope I'm not embarrassing myself too much.
That's funny.
But yeah, man. So anyways, that's how I kind of got like taken on this health trip of like, float tanks, vitamin drips, NAD drips, massages, sauna, ice bath, just little things. I didn't do it like just because I wanted to. I did it just so I could make my day, like you said, that much better.
Well, and that's what I like about, like, again, dude, like I talk about Rogan all the fucking time, but it's real. Like his reach and the amount of guests that he has is so massive, right? And it spans every genre, every walk of life.
Right.
Like him, honestly, like him, Jordan Peterson, and Andrew Huberman have been some of the biggest influences on like, health in general,
Right.
but I'd say specifically men's health. Like Rogan with the MMA,
Right.
and then him and Peterson with the carnivore diet, which I'm trying right now.
Is that really what you're
which
on?
I'm definitely breaking. This is my cheat day with the beers.
Cool, man.
Oh,
Hope
yeah.
I'm not like throwing you
No,
too far off.
no. I
but-
promised myself 2 cheat meals a week. That's what I promised myself
Okay.
was 2 cheat meals. So this is the first carb I've had since Monday morning. No, since Sunday.
Did you just start like a week ago? Or?
No, I started I cut carbs Sunday night at like my last carb was like a bagel on like 8:00 at night on Sunday, and then I've been doing just only meat and eggs since,
So it's
and
just pure protein diet.
yeah, pure protein and fat, and so between that and then then Huberman with neuroscience,
Yeah, he's really good,
and
man.
What he talks about, like. And they all throw around, float tanks and saunas and
right.
ice plunge and.
Yeah, you hear that all the time. And
But it actually there's some utility to it,
Right.
and it's funny we bring this up because I got paid today, and I'm starting to really
heck
feel.
yeah, drinks on you, baby.
I'm really starting to feel like I need to stretch more. He bullies me about it all the time. Like I need to stretch more. I need to take care of myself more, and. So I'm the guy that shows up, lifts weights, and goes home.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? And I really want to get a fucking massage scheduled. I really want to but now that I know about that place, I'm definitely gonna get at least like a sauna scheduled. And I'm assuming they have like ice plunge or ice baths.
I don't think they have an ice bath, but dude, I take ice baths like 2-3 times a week. I just go to 7-Eleven and buy a bunch of bags of ice and throw in my freaking tub. Like you could do that. Just start it off and see if you like it.
Right.
But dude, go to the Lumen and they'll set you up. They have like a whole layout of things that you might like, and just start with the float tank. But if you want, try other things.
If you're gonna do an ice bath, just try a cold bath first.
Well, because
just jump in.
Because
face
in
your
the
demons.
mornings, whether I take a shower here at the house or when I go train in the mornings, and I shower at the gym, I don't take a warm shower. I'll take a cold shower.
That's cool.
Because I know how I feel after a warm shower,
Right.
and that's very calm, relaxed.
Yeah,
I want
you to sleep.
I want to
almost.
feel exactly. I want to feel like that at night. So in the mornings, and also, you're not exactly inclined to. You good?
Yeah, computer's not plugged in.
Huh?
It's not plugged in.
What?
Power cable.
We're gonna take a 30-second breather here, folks.
Yeah, 30 seconds. That's all you need.
Just throw the fucking loop on. Are we good? What's up? What's not plugged in?
Yeah, well, the power cable's not plugged in, or it says it's not. Maybe I just kicked it.
Oh,
There it goes. Okay.
Are we good? Yeah. Okay. Man, that
Wait,
would
hold on.
suck.
Let me look at the camera, which is mine. All right. And up next, Cynthia Izagirre on Action 7 News. We are live.
Nah, dude, that would suck. The whole fucking live goes down because the computer's not plugged in.
Hey, dude.
Wait, were we running that whole live stream off of fucking native computer power?
For about, I'd say 5 minutes.
Fuck it,
I noticed the screen went out, and I was like, that's weird.
that's a good investment right there.
thinking
It's a
Yeah.
good little laptop. No,
It
but
drained the whole battery. It drained 40% of the battery.
oh, I'm sure. Oh, there's so much fucking power coming out of that thing. I'm sure. But yeah. So in the mornings, I'll take a cold shower so that I don't fall asleep and so I don't feel like too loose.
Right.
But then at the same time, you're not exactly inclined to stay in the shower for fucking 10, 15 minutes if you're taking a cold shower.
Right.
At least I'm not. I fucking hate taking cold
man,
showers.
get
So
in,
I'm
get out.
I'm fucking scrubbing the shit out of myself, get myself done, and I'm out.
Hit all the cracks.
But
get
so
out.
you're super big into wrestling. How long have you been wrestling for?
So my dad, he was a state champ wrestler from Belen. Kind of grew up with the lineage of just wrestlers in my family, and so I was kind of just born into it. My dad put me in when I was 4 or 5 years old. Was super hard on me, to the point where in 5th or 6th grade, I quit for a year because he was, it's just. I don't know, there's certain parents you don't I'm sure in sports, you have those parents who are they think that there's college scouts at an elementary school basketball game or something, you know what I mean?
I personally think that parents like that, they're projecting.
Yeah.
It's sure, the sport's good for the
Right.
kid and all that stuff, but in reality, I'm going to make this kid live the dream I couldn't.
Yeah.
So,
But to give a little bit more backstory, so my dad, he wasn't like a psycho, one of those parents who like, you know what I mean? He just really wanted it for me, and so I quit for a year, and all of my best friends, they stayed in wrestling, so they were all in wrestling. They did it. You know how like at the end of the season you get like cool jackets and stuff or whatever.
yeah,
And
I saw all the other athletic kids getting their jackets in high
yeah,
school.
so
And I was like, fuck.
and I skipped school and they show up all decked out, and me and my dad just we sat down and he's like, from here on out, you know, I'm just gonna treat you like as an equal, and we're gonna just make this like fun. And I just went on to do it, man. I had a good time. I did it all through high school, and it's so crazy, man. Like now that I'm older, within the last 3 or 4 years, I've been coaching junior wrestling.
Oh, shit.
And
So what age range is that?
So it's crazy, man. So my youngest wrestler is 4, and my oldest wrestler is about 15 to 16.
Oh, shit.
And we had almost 80 kids in the program. Like, not last year. I didn't coach this last year, but the 3 years before, over 80 kids, man.
Is this here in Albuquerque?
No, in Belen.
In Belen.
So I
So
grew
it's all
up in
still
Belen.
Belen. Okay.
I just want to give back to where I grew up. And it was actually during the time that I was dealing with all those injuries, and I was kind of making a rehabilitation.
Yeah.
You know, I was barely and so I had to quit my job. I was injured so bad. And so I had all this time for a year, and I ended up just getting sucked into this coaching program. And so it kind of rehabilitated me. And then also I got a chance to coach all these kids and give back. And so, yeah, man, over the last 3 or 4 years, I got to be the head coach of Belen Junior Wrestling. And it's so cool, man, because this last year, literally like maybe 3 weeks ago, the Belen High School, their starting lineup is like my first batch of junior wrestlers that I coached.
Oh, shit.
And they just took state, man. They just took state. And it was just, some of them took state like individually. And so it was just such a cool moment to see. And I've had some of my junior wrestlers on the pod when they were like little kids, and now they're adults, like in high school.
Oh, so those were the kids.
Yeah.
No
yeah. So
shit.
like the little, like one of the 2 kids, he took second, but he's only a sophomore. But he has like a full sleeve now. He's like a grown man. And I'm like, but see, like that's like the coolest thing about doing the pod is like we go back and watch, and like I'm interviewing these 2 little kids. And then now, like maybe when they graduate, hopefully get them back on. And just to see the growth in like, some of these kids don't have families, man. Some of these kids don't have dads. And the junior wrestling practice is their only exposure to a male figure trying to give them guidance in life. And so like I try my best to not only teach them about the fundamentals of wrestling, but how to be an adult and how to live life, you know, how to be respectful to other people, how to open the door for people walking by. You shake everyone's hand, you look at them. We start off with those values, and then we build out, you know what I mean? So I want more for them to just be successful in life rather than, you know, it's just a trophy. What's a trophy?
So you see your first batch, your first group of kids start to really succeed in wrestling. What does that feel like?
Oh, man, it's the most rewarding feeling. When you first meet someone and they're shy, like, you know, and then you get to just teach them their first move. You teach them the first stance, how to get in a stance and just shake your opponent's hand. And you stick with that kid long enough, and you get to see them to a point where they're fully dominating in a sport and they're growing into their own, man. As a coach, there's nothing more rewarding. And I thought like the pinnacle was like actually competing, but to me, coaching and teaching other people is way more rewarding. Like to give information to other people and to see them use that and grow, dude, like what other better feeling is there, you know?
And you kind of touched on this a couple minutes ago. What, in your opinion, so how long have you been coaching for? How many years?
So I was the head of Belen Junior Wrestling for I think about 3 or 4 years.
Okay. So
I didn't coach this last year, but I was head for about 4.
So far, in your opinion, what separates coaching that is just meeting the mark, just doing enough to get these kids on the mat,
Right.
to, all right, these kids are winning.
Right.
What separates that, in your opinion?
So to me, I'm coaching them from my perspective. How would I do better? I know what I don't do good in. I know if I have someone yelling at me and saying you're stupid, you don't know what to do, you could do better, you're better than this, I like just shell up and I do worse. So what I do is I make these kids,
And most people do.
yeah, but I make these kids want to perform like and do good to like impress me and like reward them. Like that was, build them up to where they're not doing it out of fear, but they're doing it out of confidence. So when you get these kids to wrestle and to perform out of confidence, and then they're like trying to impress you or trying to do good for you, and then you give them that hug at the end of the match, that's what makes champions, man. That's what makes these kids go to the next level and fully progress, as individuals. Like even in your job, like, you get rewarded in your job in real life. It feels good. You want to do better for your boss or whoever. But if your boss treats you like crap and never rewards you, you're going to be like, well, why would I even put myself out there for this guy? This guy doesn't care about me.
Well, what you're describing, you're completely right. First, yeah.
Huh?
The school we went to, it's a whole bunch of negative reinforcement left and right.
I don't know. And it does work for some people. Some kids just...
I'll tell you right now, man, it does not work for 95% of people between the ages of 13 and 17. It does not fucking work. But what you're... Because I agree with you. And what you're describing, at least the way that I learned it at that school, funny enough, they don't practice what they preach, but the way I learned it is that is the definition of leadership, right? It's getting people to do what you say, not because you said it, but because they want to, right? You're motivating them to do it because they want to do it. They see the inherent value. They see the benefit, not only to them, right? And that's why I'm so fascinated with combat sports specifically, is because it's an exercise in individual. Like you could be on a wrestling team or something like that, but when you're on the mat, when you're in the octagon, when you're in the ring, at the end of the day, it is an exercise in individuality. How much work did you put in? How much of your lessons and your training camp, or how much of your practices did you absorb, right? How much did you do in your off time outside of because I'd imagine you train with these kids an hour or two a day? Right?
Yeah, usually about 2.5 hours, 2 hours.
So what are they doing outside of that, right? Because you can train all you want for 2.5 hours. And
that's the thing.
But if you're going home and you're eating pizza all day, you're eating fucking Whataburger all day, you're sleeping 2 hours a night, or you're doing a whole litany of things that'll damage your body, that 2.5 hours will actually do your body worse.
Way worse.
Right? It'll do it worse. You're not actually training for anything. You'll be consistently taking steps backward.
What's 2 hours compared to 22 hours the rest of the day doing nothing?
I forget who it was, but I love following bodybuilding, and there's this female bodybuilder that was talking about the way she I think her name is Steffi Cohen. If you want to pull her up, dude, she's you know what I'm talking about, right?
Steffi Cohen?
Oh, dude, this chick is... so a friend of mine who runs the gym that I go to, one of the gyms that I go to, his girlfriend has met her because his girlfriend's a Gymshark, actually Gymshark athlete.
That's cool.
And this chick, I don't think she'll say it outright anytime soon, but this chick is juiced.
Dang.
Juiced. But she looks great, dude. It's STFI. STEFI.
Hey, yo, shout out to that Steffi Cohen though too.
She's fucking yoked, dude. And she's on the gear. I don't really give a shit, but she's on the gear.
Yeah.
I just say that so if anyone sees this is not a natural body. Yeah, her.
Dang.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and so she was talking about it.
Dude,
she was
300 Spartan body right there.
Yeah, for real. She was doing an interview, and because there's this big, because you were a male in high school, I'm sure you got told this too. where it's like when you get done lifting weights, you have to drink a protein shake within 30 minutes to an hour after working out, or that workout meant nothing.
Yeah.
Which is a load of bullshit. I think most people know that now.
Yeah.
But it's a load of bullshit. And the way she phrased it was, I care, because she trains people. And she's like, okay, I care a lot more about either my friends or what my clients are doing in the 22 to 23 hours outside of the gym, a lot more than what they're doing with me in the gym. Because I can control what they're doing in the gym for the most part, right?
But how much is that staying with them?
Exactly. Like I can kind of control their output to a certain amount and all that kind of stuff, like the effort they're putting in the gym. But I'm not going home with them. I'm not making sure they're sleeping 6 to 8 hours a night. I'm not making sure they're sticking to
so much that goes into
the diet that I'm giving them.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of what you just described, is if you're able to impart on people, like, this is why it's important. This is why you need to stick with it, and show them an end goal, right? Not just you're going to do it indefinitely because I said so, or because it's good for you. It's good, especially kids that age. Show them an end goal, right? Give that positive reinforcement. Yeah. Give them that the reward. Build that reward system properly early on.
Something to work for.
Yeah, exactly.
They need something to hold on to.
Exactly.
That's good, man. That's true. You what you do outside of like your little 2 hours is 10 times more important. And that's why I like teach more. Like I focus more on mental strategy. Whereas, like, I was the type of wrestler, the type of person who would dominate practice, do all this. And I was a successful wrestler in my time. But I would always get in my head, dude. And I would always, the only reason I would lose my matches is because I would, psych myself out or something. I wasn't fully there. And I think what I struggled with is I didn't fully visualize things before they happened. And so I like try and teach my kids, and even just, like mainly just my kids, is like visualization. And you even like hear a lot of UFC fighters talk about, like, visualize yourself doing what you want to do to the point where you literally imagine yourself putting on your ankle bracelet or whatever before the match. Like the crowd, like try and imagine what the crowd's going to sound like. Imagine like some parent, cussing at you. Like you try and expose your mind to as many diverse thoughts. So when you finally show up to the real thing, nothing is throwing you off because you've imagined it so many times. You've been there 1,000 times. You imagine how the concrete's going to feel on your feet. You imagined the temperature, and I know it sounds kind of crazy or psychotic, but really when you show up on that day, you're fully zenned out and you can actually do the task that you want because you're not thrown off. Because back then, I would get thrown off by someone saying something in the crowd, and then my mind is, you know what I mean? It's so easy and all that practice is going out the window if your mind isn't there at that moment.
Well, what I think about UFC wise, when you say that, is the first fight took place 6-7 months ago, maybe longer, between Usman and Edwards. Did you watch that fight?
Yeah. The one where he head kicked him?
Yeah, but he head kicked him, exactly. I think that Leon Edwards knew he had something to prove. Usman went in there with a lot of skill. Usman's a bad motherfucker.
He is, man.
But I think he went in there with a bit of cockiness and a bit of, who the fuck is this guy?
Right.
Like UFC-wise, who the fuck is this guy?
Right.
And
he's like, I dominated him last time.
Exactly. And he got to the point where he was like, all right, not that I don't need to try too hard, but like this is going to kind of be a wash. But then when Edwards kept breaking him down by the 5th round, I mean, can you pull up that head kick look up Usman via, you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So by the time that head kick came around, if I remember correctly, Usman literally dropped his guard.
Yeah.
And the specific 1-2 with that head kick that Edwards prepared or did to him, he trained that in camp. He's like, this is what I'm going to finish him with. I'm going to fake with the right, or it was either fake with the right, kick with the left.
Yeah, so he throws like a half-assed jab just to make him...
To make his hands go up one way. To make him
a little bit, but then he just hides it with that head kick.
Yes.
Man, I can't believe he just won again, too. I didn't see the last fight. I normally watch every card, but I don't know.
And then he won again. And I think, you took the words right out of my mouth. I think that going into that third fight, there's a lot of anxiety and a lot of lost confidence. Where I was like, fuck, what am I going to do? And I know Edwards won by decision, right?
Yes, he won by decision.
But it was unanimous. If I remember correctly, it was unanimous.
I heard that there was confusion, that they thought it was a draw at first or something like that.
Yeah, that's 6 seconds. Pull that up.
But then it came out that Leon won the third fight pretty clean. So this is the second fight where he head kicks him?
This is the second fight. Yeah, where he head kicks him. And
so people viewing or watching this right now?
Yeah, if you want to put the audio on.
Okay. Never mind.
Fuck it, play that one. It's got the Rocky theme. Play that one. Just put the audio on that bitch. Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yes, this is good. Yeah, play this. I love his ring commentaries.
Let's go.
Turn it down a little bit on YouTube.
Oh my gosh, dude. See how he throws that straight? Boom! Good night, son. Good night.
Rewind it a little bit. I want to see that again.
Wait, can we hear his coach yelling at him one more time?
Yeah, you can replay the whole fucking thing.
I love just, dude, you don't realize how much your corner, look at.
Go back again, go back. Yeah.
Right here. Oh man, I'm gonna leave this podcast to go ahead kick someone. Oh! Did you see him smile?
Yeah, dude, he knew. Right,
Oh
right
my
when
God.
that hip went up, he knew.
He's just like, it's done. That gives me chills, man. They say that was the best head kick finish of all time. And then,
Remember,
then
you
did you
don't
hear?
use the are you using that for the picture-in-picture? No. Okay, cool.
And then isn't it crazy too that John Anik literally like called it like right before it happened?
Yeah.
He's not from that cloth. You can't put your hands down with him or something. Literally like a second after.
Because I remember DC goes, he's like, we were writing your obituary. We were gonna say you were out, and then boom. Well, and then so because you're a wrestling guy, and I'm assuming that you follow and know a little bit about jiu-jitsu. With the return of John Jones, he fucking submitted Cyril Gane in 2 minutes.
Yep.
2
That was
minutes.
That was insane.
What did you watch? I'm assuming you watched that.
Yes, I did, man. And I was nervous. Because there's so many unanswered questions. We haven't seen John for years. He's been building up. We've been seeing him do bodybuilding for 2 years. Is he training in his garage? Does he have people that are worth a crap? He was kicked out of Jackson Gym. And he's coming back.
I can answer some of that, funny enough. I can answer some of that. So my homie, we had him on the podcast. I want to have him back when he's fucking free. He's one of my favorites.
What's his name?
Garrett Gonzalez.
Shout out Garrett.
He runs Legion Iron.
Oh yeah. I think I had seen that one. Does he have his hair bleached or something like that?
Yeah, he did for a time. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was.
So we didn't talk. I don't know how the fuck we didn't talk about it on the pod. Maybe we mentioned it. But we didn't like get into it. Mm-hmm. But he was John Jones's strength coach for a year and a half. And
during the time off when he's building,
it was before his last fight.
Okay.
And like he practically fucking lived with this guy.
Wow.
And it's not my story to tell in detail, but John Jones is a weird dude behind the scenes. Weird guy. And but John, when he got through that last fight, he was still the light heavyweight, and he was training super fucking hard. And what I know is that in his off season, even going into that fight, he was like, "This is gonna be it." Mm-hmm. And then if I ever come back, it's heavyweight.
Right.
And then he got into his antics, and he started fucking hitting his wife and doing blow and getting arrested and whatever. Right.
Yeah. His normal tradition.
Yeah, unfortunately. And that's what kind of made me fall off of John Jones.
Mm.
I was like, yo, I respect the work ethic and I respect the skill. You can't not.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I would never sit down with that guy and go, like, first of all, for my own safety, I would never go fuck you. But, you know, like, I would never say that because he's so damn good at what he does.
Yeah.
He is such a practitioner of that art of mixed martial arts that you can't deny that, right? But I kind of fell off due to what he was doing behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But
there's so much.
I
can't even.
But the moment that Francis Ngannou got out of that fight, I was like, all right, Jones, I don't care who Jones is going to fight. He's going to win. Because who else in the UFC right now, except for Stipe, who he's going to fight next in July, other than Francis Ngannou, who's going to pose a threat to John Jones?
I don't know, man.
Even with the 2 years off.
Yeah.
Because
I think the competition goes down in heavyweight, to be honest.
yeah.
Like,
Well, I don't know.
I mean, I know there are a lot more heavy hitters, but like, there's
well, Khabib fucking ran through. Because what was Khabib?
He's lightweight.
He was a lightweight, right? He wasn't featherweight.
He's 155.
Yeah.
He's in the toughest weight class.
Yeah, I was gonna say he fucking tore through everybody.
Yeah. No,
And
that
then
weight class is the. So actually, right now, I think 135 is more stacked than ever, and it's never been like that. But like, you have Sean O'Malley. You have, I think the top is Aljamain Sterling,
And he's about
then
to fight Cejudo.
He's
right?
about to fight Cejudo, and
Yeah.
then you got Cheeto, and you got Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah.
And you got Cody, and you got TJ. Like, there's that weight class to me, I think, is the most stacked.
Yeah.
But 155 in history has always been the best because it's a weight where they're heavy enough to throw bombs like Justin Gaethje, but they're also light enough to where you need technical skills
Yeah.
to progress.
And that's what I think. Like, I haven't seen a whole lot of Cyril Gane's fights, I'll be honest. And I'm very, like, knowledge-wise, I'm very novice to UFC. But I think there was a lot of technical skills that Cyril Gane didn't have going into that fight with John Jones.
Yeah.
Because right when John took him down, it took him, 20 seconds?
Yep.
He just rolled right through him and then done.
Just did a duck under,
Done.
took him down. It was like going to wrestling practice.
Yeah.
There's a good video. I want to interrupt. Sorry. I'll try to find it, but it was like literally him at Jackson's. Like, they let him back for like the day before the fight.
Is your
like,
audio
the week
coming
before
through?
The fight. I hear it in my head.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Oh, you have me muted on here. Never mind.
No. Yours
No.
is just the mic. Yeah. Those two. So
yeah,
originally,
I'll just mic in.
for everyone watching, originally we had one of the the smaller Sures for the producer, but I've got those two hooked up for when we do 4 people.
Got you.
So I've got those on the ground. That's why I
okay,
muted
okay.
those.
Yeah.
So you can monitor your audio on
good.
OBS, and it's the one that says producer mic.
Yeah. We're good.
So as long as that's kicking up, they'll hear it.
But anyways, back to the thing. He was working with him like a week before the fight or something, and he literally put him in like that exact situation that he ended up in that fight, where he pushed him against the gate. He's like,
Yep.
"Hey, don't stay here, because he's gonna fucking overpower you. Get under him, push him down."
Yep.
And literally like the training video.
Yeah.
See,
Fucking
that's
threw him
so
down, got him
cool,
in a
man.
guillotine.
That's
Done.
crazy. But that's why John, that's why he's so good, is because he doesn't act like he knows everything. He hasn't hit a roof. He still digests information.
Yeah.
And MMA, I mean, it's mixed martial arts. If you have one single skill, we all found that out with Ronda Rousey, Holly Holmes. You're a judo thrower, but you go toe to toe with a kickboxer, you're gonna get head kicked.
So I met Holly Holmes, right? And I was in line to meet her, and I was like, "What am I gonna say?" Like, I'm not gonna say, "Hi, it's nice to meet you," because I'm not gonna front and be like, "I know UFC," because especially back then I didn't. I just knew that she was. Cause I grew up much like, I'm assuming you grew up here in New Mexico.
Yeah.
That you grow up fucking seeing her on billboards fighting at fucking the casinos and shit.
Yeah, she's a local hero.
Yeah, she's a hero. She's a legend here. So I'm not gonna front and act like I've followed her career like to the T, because I haven't.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say like, oh, I like when you did blank, because I don't know any of her techniques. So I finally go up to meet her and I shake her hand and I'm like, "Thank you for knocking out Ronda Rousey. Thank you so much." And she looked at me, bad bitch, right? Looked at me dead in the eyes and goes, "That's my job." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's it."
Damn. That's her job. She just showed up to work that day and did
Yeah.
what she was supposed to.
I was like, "All right, you know what? Fair enough."
Hey,
fair.
stay holding your hat
Yeah,
up.
right. Like, oh, please don't kill me. Oh my God, please don't kill me.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
I've seen her running and stuff like on the road, on the side of the road, but it's so cool that we live like in the heart of like a lot of these combat sports, you know.
Well, what else is there to do other than drink and fight in Albuquerque?
That's the thing, man. We have a lot of the thing that makes us so much different than a lot of the other states is poverty and stuff like that. In a rough household, they breed some of the toughest people you will ever meet.
Yeah.
That's why Belen wrestling, where I grew up, they breed some of the toughest wrestlers because they grow up in the toughest households and they're already used to diversity and used to dealing with stuff that isn't going for them, and they overcome that. If you're just handed everything, and it's hard because like I think of myself and when I have kids and I think, how do I want to raise them? I'm doing all I can right now to give them a life that I want them to have. But the way I was raised wasn't like a privileged life. And I wonder how many life skills I got, you know, in the environment that I grew up in. And so it's hard because you want to, you know, give these kids the best, but also, you know, you want to expose them enough to the world to where they can learn life skills, you know?
Yeah. No, and I'm just talking to you for the last, let's call it an hour and a half. A lot is what you've gained, at least to me anyway.
Yeah.
It really feels like you've gained a lot. And I think, because I'm not going to speak as if I'm going to have kids one day. As of right now, in the foreseeable future, I do not plan on having that happen in my life. But I think one of the biggest challenges would be, especially for a personality type like yours, is letting them fail. Because how many things have you learned through life through failure? Right?
That's the only way you learn.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And humans are very faulty like that. We can get spoken to. We can get shown. We can literally have our hands held and dragged by our ears through a solution to the problem that we can do right now. But, 9 times out of 10, humans are going to learn through failure and adversity and through just horrible things happening to you.
Right.
And I think, I would imagine, right, as a parent, when you eventually do have kids and they start becoming of that age where failure starts to have consequences, letting them do that.
Right.
Obviously, you don't let them get hurt. You don't let them get sent to jail.
Right.
Let them hurt other people.
Controlled chaos.
Exactly. Controlled chaos. You're going to let them fuck up because you know they're going to learn eventually.
Right.
Yeah.
That's hard, man. It's hard to do because it's a line. It's a fine line. You know what I mean?
No.
My parents, they like raised me. They wanted me to go to like this private school, it's like a Christian, half in school, half home school. I don't even know what you call it. Yeah, something like that. Family school, I think, is what they call it. Anyways, they filled up, right? Like I didn't have the grades to get in.
They told you they filled up, but in reality, all those C's and D's were like, nah.
He's special. I was kidding. So anyways, man, I had to go to, public schools, and it was the biggest blessing, man. But if there's one thing I gained out of, growing up from Belen and growing up in the environment that I did is you have to stand up for yourself, and you have to be true to yourself. What you say, you stand on the ground that, that your feet are planted on, and you're going to hit rock walls, but, and you're going to, I got picked on, man. I was I look, like you just said, I look way younger than I am. Imagine me when I was like in 7th grade, like second day in middle school.
A damn infant.
Yeah, but the thing is like, even in college, like, the reason I would always get in so much fights, like at parties and stuff, is because people picked on me because I look like a kid.
Yeah.
So like, what is this kid doing, man? What does this kid think he's drinking at this party? What is this? And I always had to like stand up for myself and prove myself. You know what I mean? And
is that what started wrestling?
But wrestling definitely helped me.
You said your dad like got you into it, but like that what kind of kept you going? It's like, yo, you can pick on me all you want, but I'm a fucking
I honestly,
rinse you.
I knew in my is this that that clip?
It's a stupid short, so you can't fucking see it super well.
Let's watch it, man. Oh yeah, that's a position. This is Cejudo. Literally showing it frame for frame. True student of the sport, man.
See, you can't.
You know how you said, or go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you can't see all of John's face in that.
Yeah.
But you look at the way, even his side profile, and it's like, I'm gonna finish him with that. I'm gonna use that immediately.
Yep.
Because I remember, like, my first exposure to Henry Cejudo was through Rogan, and the girl that I was with at the time, she's the one that got me into UFC because she followed it a bunch. And then she had walked into the room I was in. I'm such a fucking dork, dude. I was, you're good. I was,
sorry, bro.
No, you're good. I was fucking bagging and boarding all my fucking comic books, and I'm listening to this podcast, and she comes in, she goes, "Hey, who's the guest? I've heard that voice." I'm like, "Oh, it's some guy named Henry Cejudo." And she goes, "Oh, that's
Henry Cejudo. That's actually pretty funny."
And she goes, "No, that's Cejudo, and he's one of the best fighters in the UFC right now." And I was like, "Oh, well, he's announcing his retirement." And she's like, "Oh shit." So to see, I've seen that before, and his comeback, I'm so fucking excited for that.
So am I, man.
Anyway, you were saying.
What was that?
So you were talking about how.
So I was just talking about and honestly, here's just some advice for, like, you know, I know a lot of my followers who are now going to be some of your followers too. A lot of young adults in high school, athletes. You're gonna face adversity no matter what. You're gonna face adversity every day in your real life job. You're gonna face adversity whenever you go shopping at the store. You're never gonna have it the way you want it to. You're never gonna, no matter how much of a good day you want to have, it's never gonna go exactly how you planned. So, like, try your best to just adapt and control, like, the situation as best as you can, because I don't know, I've been through so much life experience where the most unexpected always happens. And if you're not fully present and you're not all there and you're not willing to adapt to the situation, it's just going to take over, man. You know? So, I don't know. I just want to give a shout out to all the followers, all the live listeners.
Well, so if you want to name something or speak on something, when you say something like that, right? What's an experience that comes to mind that was like, you know, maybe you don't know it at the time, but looking back on it, it's like, okay, that was a life direction changing event. That was something that actually informed me in the way that I see the world, the way I operate, the way I maybe even down to the way that your thought process works. Like, are there experiences that come to mind when you think about that?
I mean, there's a ton, but I'll just say, like, one that comes to mind. One of the life experience that changed my trajectory in life is when I was 18. I had just turned 18, like maybe 2 years ago, or it was like maybe 2 months ago from when I turned 18. I got a DWI. I was driving over the speed limit. I had just bought a new truck that day.
Oof.
And the person who sold it to me is like, "Hey, man, the speedometer's broken, so whatever you're driving, it's actually going 10 miles faster." And I didn't even think of it, you know, when I bought it. I just bought it. I was like, I got this new truck.
I can do simple math.
And so anyways, like, I'm on my way home from, like, this party. I'm like 18. I had a job. I had graduated. And
so this is summer after senior year.
This is
prime time for fucking your life up.
Free bird. I'm invincible. Just kidding. So I'm driving. I think I'm going the speed limit. I'm like, oh, I'm good. Past this cop. Get pulled over. I get pulled over. I could see my house from where I'm pulled over. Literally, I'm like within like half a mile from my house. Cherry lights pulled me over. And I'm just thinking about everything. Like, I haven't fully processed what's happened. Cop asks you all these questions, does all these things. Fine. I mean, it was pretty simple. I was pretty drunk, you know, at the time. And I've said this on my podcast before, whatever. It's even on other podcasts, but my dad shows up as I'm getting arrested. My dad sees the cherry lights down the road, and he just has a feeling, like, he just has this gut feeling, like, I gotta go. He shows up. He's watching his son getting handcuffed, put in the back seat of this cop car. My dad, you know, whatever, tries his best, and he's just like, I already called it in. There's nothing you could do. spend the night in jail, sitting in a jail cell. These guys like wanted to teach me a lesson. You know how like, have you seen those shows like where they like expose young kids to like these crazy jail guys?
You were the only motherfucker that went through Scare Straight as a damn adult, son.
They like to. Oh really?
Because Scared Straight's for fucking 15,
That is true.
12-year-olds, bro.
Still like a little. They probably thought I was like a little kid. I don't even know. They were like, we need to.
The New Mexico educated police officer was like,
We're gonna.
yeah, that's 16.
Exactly. No, they like to win this guy.
Shout out to all the cops that listen. I love you
shout
guys.
out to New Mexico State Police, just doing your job. Just kidding. But dude, I'm like at rock bottom. They're like, let's take him to this guy's jail cell, and this guy's like, hey, I like your shoes. What's up? I'm like, what's up? I'm like at ground zero, whatever. I'm like, what do I got to lose at this point? But like you were just saying, like you asked me that question. It was just a true wake up call to reality. You know, you're not invincible. You can have all these plans. You could think you're doing everything right. But if you're not truly analyzing your day and taking responsibility for what you're doing, life is going to hit you smack in the face. And luckily, I was young enough to where I could turn my life around and still make something of myself. And, you know, that was a blessing from God, looking back, because if that didn't happen, who knows where my life would go. Imagine if I would have still continued that lifestyle into my late 20s. I learned it right when I was smack 18. Like, look, if you act like an idiot, this is what's going to happen to you.
Well,
you know?
and that's, excuse me, you know, people don't want to say it, but that's such a common occurrence. Like, not necessarily the ugly back end part of that, but just, hey, I'm okay. I'm going to drive.
Right.
Or, hey, I'm completely sober, but I got somewhere to be. I'm going to do 10, 15, 20 over, whatever it is. And, you know, a lot of people in New Mexico don't know this, but if you go and you get either pulled over for speeding, or like the weird one that trips people up is if, let's say, you get rear-ended. It's not your fault.
Right.
Let's say you've had a couple of beers. You're not drunk, but you're like, okay, I can get home.
Leon Edwards just got a head kick. You take a shot. You're like, yo.
Yeah. You're not like hammered, but you're not exactly sober.
Yeah.
And you think you can drive
home. Right.
And let's say you get rear-ended on the call home. They breathalyze both of you.
Yeah.
You've got booze in your system.
Dude.
You're getting a DUI.
Right.
And
that happens a lot.
It happens.
Believe me, people, dude, on my way to your house, there was this car that literally almost hit the back of my car.
Yeah. Not surprised.
I look back, I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? He's just like,
yeah.
Throws it up.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's like the New Mexico high.
Yeah.
High five. Yo.
But, you know, there's so many occurrences where your life can change just like that, and you're not thinking about it because in my opinion, it's your brain going, yeah, like I know I shouldn't be doing this. Yeah, this probably isn't a good idea, but I do it all the time, so it doesn't really matter all that much.
There's so many other people on the road. That what's the odds of it happening to me?
What are the odds of it happening to me?
Right.
Dude.
I mean,
it's like you didn't think that guy didn't think the same thing, bro.
Yeah.
That anecdote, that headline news story that you saw, you didn't think he thought the same thing, or she thought the same thing.
That's the thing, man. You're not invincible. You know, you're just another number. Anything could happen at any moment. Yeah. And like I just said, life throws you adversities. Life's gonna throw you curveballs. But if you have full confidence and just think like nothing's gonna happen to me, I'm gonna be all right no matter what. I'm gonna live my lifestyle. Nothing's gonna stop me. You're gonna have to. Whether you pay for it in this life or the next, it's going to come around.
Yeah.
So, like, you have to take responsibility for what you're doing. And it took me all the way till I'm 29. I'm still learning life lessons like that. Yeah. Like, and luckily, you know, I'm tied into, I wouldn't say I'm religious, but I would say God throws me signs on the regular. And he throws me enough signs where I'm like, okay. Like that, you know, after the fourth sign, it's like, oh, you're trying to teach me something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
Whether it's God, the universe, everyone has a, you know, whatever they want to call it. Yeah. But I feel like this life is trying to guide me to be the best human being possible. And I just think that that's why, through a lot of these experiences, I always ask myself, what's my purpose? What am I here for? What are we here for? We're going through this life. I'm doing all this thing. Am I here to make money? Am I here to... And the number one answer that's always come to me, whether I'm in my meditation, in the float tank, whether I'm, just hanging out on the top of a mountain, you're meant to tell stories. You're here to tell stories, and you're here to communicate and converse with other human beings. And that's part of what's driving Against the Grain podcast is I'm just here to express myself, whether it's, telling stories about, getting arrested or, telling stories about UFC. God just wants me to be a vessel here, And so I'm just here just letting it out and having a good time. Against the Grain podcast. Half of our podcasts are us just, turning up, having a good time, and half because my girlfriend was asking me, she's like, "What's your podcast? Is it a comedy podcast? Like, what is it?" She's like, if I'm like telling people what the subject is, what is it? And I'm like, we're kind of funny, but we sometimes I don't know, but I don't want to have a label stuck on me. You know what I mean? That's why I think you would have such a good time on our podcast, because we just have a good time. And there's no label attached to it. Hey, this is a motivational podcast. Tell us everything that you know about whatever, made you a better person, or hey, try and be funny. It's just and I respect you because you have a cool questionnaire. You're really stepping up, man. And I'm proud of you because I've really have followed your podcast since 2020. Like I said, one of my friends is friends of yours, and he saw that I started my podcast. And he's like, "Hey, man, you need to follow this podcast. They just started too." And I follow you on Instagram. And so I've been watching from the outside. You know what I mean? I've been cheering for you. And just to see, just actually just set foot in the studio is so cool, man.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot, seriously. And I want to pick your brain a little bit more about your podcast in the future specifically, but I don't know what's been going on with me because there's a lot about what you just said that I want to dig into.
Yeah,
we're going to. I don't know what's been going on with me, but for the last 2 episodes, dude, I have got to fucking pee. I have got to pee so bad. So we're gonna take a little break.
Shout out to 7K. I know we're trying to get sponsors for Marvel, but
all right, throw the loop on, and we'll be right back, guys.
let's run it. I'm right there with you, bro. You cool with that?
Yeah.
All right, man.
You can go ahead and use the restroom downstairs, and I'll go upstairs.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Test. Yeah, we're still leaving.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And shout out to Santa Fe Brewing too. We're trying to get all the sponsors today.
Yes, sir. Fuck. No, you're good, bro. I gotta send a text real quick.
I know. My mom just called. I told her I love her. Hey, Mom. Hey, man, I'm having a good time, man. Thanks for having me on the pod.
Dude, this has been a damn pleasure, dude. This has been fucking great. I knew it was gonna go well.
Yeah.
But like, cause I'll be real, like is the audio cut from the pod track? That's dude.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna leave you hanging.
Black Sabbath. Fucking shit. Dude, I just came back from Greta Van Fleet.
I saw that,
Fucking tear
dude.
that shit up, bro. At El Paso? Oh, my God. They canceled on us in October because he blew his fucking eardrum. And he had to come. So they came back. Dude, their encore was 6 songs.
Ooh.
They were like,
Hey, Slums of Harvard, you watching this shit? They did 6 songs. You can do 2 now, right?
oh, shit.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yo, shout out to Slums of Harvard, though. Shout out to
they're
The
the shit.
Rhythm. Shout out to Reviva, all the homies.
Dude, okay, so funny. So the Slums of Harvard, I mean, if you're following the podcast, I've had them on so many fucking times. They're the shit. But I really want to have the Rhythms on because Leroy talks about them nonstop. Well, I
Dude,
mean, they all do.
They're sick, man.
But especially Leroy. I want to get them on. And then fucking red light cameras. Dude, they're good.
I've heard of them. Yeah.
I have
heard of them.
I just saw them a couple weeks ago, and Amanda is insane on the
tearing it up.
stage. She's insane, dude. That band is great. One thing I wanted to say about what you just said before we move on, you know how the universe, God, whatever, like whatever someone wants to believe in or put their faith into, you're completely right. They will, or it will, show you signs. It will try its best to point you in the right direction. Me personally, I believe in God, and I really do believe that God gave us free will, but He's going to do everything He can to make you do the right thing. But at the end of the day, like I said a little earlier, we're human,
Right.
and we make horrible decisions sometimes. And no matter how many times you know you're doing the wrong thing, you're going to pay for it.
Right.
And you're going to learn more often than not in proportionate. Because I really believe that the universe itself is a very there are horrible things that happen to good people, and there are amazing things that happen to bad people. That's a very real thing. But generally speaking, I think the universe is a very fair thing. And the amount of good and the amount of goodwill you put into it is what you're going to get back. And the amount of evil and the amount of ugliness you put into it, that's how much you're going to get back too. And I think that when you're doing the wrong thing, you are probably going to get punished in the way you're fearing you're going to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you keep doing the thing and you're scared that whatever the outcome is going to be, it's probably going to be that and possibly some.
That's true.
And there's a quote that I heard Jordan Peterson talk about, or Jordan Peterson say in one of his lectures. And he said, I've never seen anyone get away with anything. And he goes on to explain it, and he says, okay, you have people that are schemers, that are liars, that are cheats, that are, whatever it is. Like, okay, maybe they have money, maybe they have status, maybe they have these materialistic things, but you talk to some of these people, like, and if you get to be someone that really talks to them, they are unhappy. They are severely depressed. They are like the mental anguish that they're going through.
Just because they're not in jail or are not getting what they deserve.
Exactly.
They're paying for it in some way or another.
Exactly.
Whether it's through their family, whatever.
They are going to pay for it. And you're never going to get away with anything.
Right.
And I think that's something that a lot of people need to hear. I heard it, but I didn't understand it until I paid for it.
And a lot of people are like, I don't believe in God. Call it what you want. Call it life. Let's just all call it life. We all believe in life, right? We're all alive. I feel like life is trying to guide us in the direction that makes life better, makes you better. you know, and you're going to repeat the same mistakes 1,000 times.
Yeah.
That makes someone psychotic. Like the definition of psychotic is like doing the same thing 1,000 times and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it, you know?
Yeah.
But then also, like, you shouldn't be jealous of people who get away with things. Like, people are like, well, what? They got to do everything. Everything goes their way. It's going to come around, you know? Yeah. It's going to come around eventually. But when you live your own life, you have to basically just take what's in front of you and make the right decisions. It's hard, man. We're all living life.
Yeah.
What's the right decision? We're asking ourselves, what's the right decision? Like, you know, I'm going to work every day. I'm doing this. Am I socially accepted? Am I doing, you know, there's so many, but I think life, God, whatever you want to call it, if you just truly listen, that's why I really truly believe in meditation. I told you I do the float tank. I do all these things. Just try and listen, because life really is trying to give you answers.
Yeah.
And if you hone in enough, you will at least get a hint of it. And it might not be on the first try or the second try, but maybe the third try. Whether it's through failure, whether it's through meditation, life, God is trying to give you the right answers, you know?
Well, you know,
it's hard, man.
The negative, the more ugly or maybe even evil things in life, they come very easy.
Yeah.
But the good things, the better things, the pure things, the things that will actually better you, just diet, right? This is the best analogy I can come up with right now. Diet. If you want to get overweight, if you want to get fat, if you want to just become a slob, bro, we got a McDonald's 5 minutes down that way.
Yo, shout out McDonald's, San Mateo, owns fire.
But if you want to lose weight, right? If you want to get in better shape, that takes time.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I think that type of system applies to most everything in life.
Right.
Because in the endeavor to do good, you are undoing all of the bad that you've done, whether it's the bad you've done to yourself, the bad you've done to other people, because you can do bad things to people you love.
Right.
Right?
all
That happens all the fucking time. And the good you're trying to do through life, like, you're having to work through all that other bad shit. And to turn that back into that quote I brought up, like, you don't get away with everything. Or you don't get away with anything.
Mm-mm.
You will pay for everything good in your life. I tell myself that, I'll be honest. Because I know a lot of people who do a lot of good and get no kind of thank you or get whatever.
But that's the thing, man.
But maybe they get blessed in their personal life that, again, we don't see.
Right.
But, like, in doing good, you also have to undo a lot of bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think, you know, to tie this all back into wrestling, you imparting this kind of stuff along with the mental strength and everything else we discussed on these kids, like, as young as 4 fucking years old.
Yeah.
Like that's a serious impact that, you know, especially coming from a position where I didn't have, I had a dad for all of 8 years collectively.
Yeah.
But I never really had a father figure in my life.
Right.
And so when I look back, when I was between the ages of, I mean, realistically 10 to 20, 22, I was kind of looking for that type of father figure. And I really never found it. Right. So being able to impart that on someone in a personal level, and then it's all through the frame of, hey, you're going to do your best to fucking strangle this guy, or you're going to do your best to get them as close to breaking an appendage without actually breaking it.
Yeah.
That's a very, I mean, it's a very visceral way to do it. You know what I mean?
That's the thing, man. Like with MMA, like we were talking about MMA, but even wrestling, it's the highest risk, highest reward.
Yeah.
It literally is. It's like the highest stakes of chess. One wrong move can, like you said, equal you getting choked out in front of your family.
And you're accountable for all of it.
Yeah. That's a thing that's why I love wrestling so much, or combat sports, is because no one goes out there but you. Like I said, if I even tell my wrestlers at practice, remember you getting stuck this last weekend at practice today. Do you want to do that again? You want to repeat the same cycle? Because it's going to happen. If you repeat the same cycle, you're going to have to level up right now. And so I try and help them, like, remember how much when they come to me crying after their match, like, oh, I tell them, this week at practice, you're not doing that crap. You're not talking to your best friend. You're picking a different partner. You know what I mean? There has to be some change. There has to be some type of improvement, whether it's the most micro improvement. And then that's when you start seeing results. And, that's a progression in life. If you keep repeating the same things, you're going to keep regurgitating the same faults.
So you bring up a good point there. Micro improvements, right? We got to talk about about baby steps. What are you doing right now with the podcast to help it improve little bit by little bit? We talked about equipment and all that,
right.
but like, do you have kind of a plan or an idea of what you're going to do for the? Because like for me, for instance, right, one of my plans for 2023 was by the end of the summer, I want to figure out how to live stream. We already fucking did that, so now I'm trying to figure out the new thing. I'm trying to figure out the new goal to hit right now. So do you have like these micro adjustments you're making, some bigger things you want to achieve?
So this year, my number one goal was to do or put out a pod bi-weekly. I know in the past we had let time go by. We would do a pod one, we started our pod at the same time, but you're on episode, what are we, 87 or something?
Well, no, you started before me.
So yeah,
because we did our first October of 2020, right? Yeah, October of 2020.
Okay. But so our improvements, I mean, like the point that I was trying to make is you started after us and you have more episodes, whereas we started before you and we have less because there was certain gaps where we just didn't meet the mark.
Okay.
And so my micro goal for this year, my micro improvement was to put out a pod at least, every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, I feel like that's flexible enough. And if I'm feeling really good and, feel like giving back to the fans, I'll put out one a week early.
That's a good way to do it. And what I found, just so I could kind of impart what I'd gone through when I did a bi-weekly for sure. It's a good one because what I did, and this is not my own advice. This is advice that I got from my buddy that was helping me produce, is that was the perfect system because I wasn't live streaming.
Right.
It was 1 week. It was like if I could go back on it, I would do 1 week of longer clips between 5 and 20 minutes, right, during that week, maybe 2 or 3. And then the week after, it would be the episode. And now, because our other roommate, David, he's upstairs. He used to fucking bully me. Well, first of all, about wire management. He would bully like a motherfucker about wire management. He's the one, if you, after this, I'll show you, under the tables and shit, where everything's, stapled and fucking Velcroed and fucking all organized. That was him, not me. That was all him. We stayed up till fucking 4:30 in the morning doing that shit.
Heck yeah.
But he would give me shit about that, but he would also give me shit
Did you get him pizza, though?
Fuck yeah. Oh, dude, I felt so bad because I ordered pizza because I realized how long this was going.
Yeah.
It's oh, dude, I'm going to order this guy pizza. I was all right, so it's fucking 12. It's 12.
I saw the pod where you said that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, then there you go. Yeah, so I had ordered him, and I thought, dude, I'm telling you, Google told me that fucking Papa John's
Google
closed.
or God, whatever you want to call it.
Oh my god! So yeah, Google fucking
did it.
told
you
me.
Listen.
It told me that Papa John's closed at 1 a.m. Poor motherfucking guy shows up at 12:45 with the food. He's like, "Hey man, you ordered just in time." And I'm thinking oh yeah, you've got 10 minutes to get back to the shop, whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. He goes, yeah, we close at 12:30. And I look at my phone, it's 12:45, and I'm like,
bro. That's a $10 tip right there.
I'm so sorry. I tipped him pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
I give him an extra tip.
That's funny, though.
But yeah, so anyway.
Shout out to the wire management, though, for real.
Yeah, so he's the one that helped me with that, but he would also give me shit because I wasn't on TikTok and I wasn't uploading shorts on YouTube, TikTok videos. So if I could go back, I would do fucking TikTok and shorts during the week of the episode. And then fucking what I did do though was the week before I would put out little clips to lead up to that. So that's a good goal to get to, dude. That's a good system for sure.
So that's why I like to give myself 2 weeks because it gives me 2 weeks to make the clips that I like of that episode.
Yeah.
Whether it's one clip a week after, and then let people digest it.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, no one's that interested in Josh Griego's life. No one's like, what's Josh doing this week, every week? You know what I mean?
That's how I feel.
So it's let's give him at least 2 weeks to digest, even if they just watch this clip, at least they're still with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my goal is just to keep it 2 weeks this whole year of 2023.
Yeah.
And then, we got the Roadcast. I've used it for 2 episodes. They came out great, but they made me want to throw my laptop in the wall.
Fucking mood.
So my goal is to either get a producer, and I already have someone who said they would commit to it, but stick to the Roadcaster. I got it, but use it to its full capability. So by the time I have you on the pod, so the times that we've used the Roadcaster, because we only have 2 mics right now, it's only been me and another guest. Mm-hmm. But Brandon, he's on most of the pods. So when it's Brandon with me, I've just been like, screw it. We're just going to throw it on with the room mic and just,
Well,
but
it's a good piece of equipment, dude. And it, if you want help with it, I think I can show you how to use it, because from what I've researched about it, it's literally just those 2 things, but like put together.
Right. And it was cool, man. Like we have the soundboard with it. Like we have laugh tracks. Like, it was fun. The episodes that we used with it had like
that's sick.
It has like if you watch episode 50,
like Fresh and Fit, you're hitting the fucking
yeah, exactly. It was a mile marker episode, so we're going with the Roadcaster.
Nice.
And there's like little skits where it has like a ballerina sound, and we're like, like I don't know, like you just have fun with it. It could take the conversation in a direction
that's all that matters,
you wouldn't before.
As long as you're having fun. That's all that fucking matters.
Right.
That's awesome. And so you're doing stuff bi-weekly. That's a great goal. I gotta say, man, like, because, and I'm only saying this from my own personal experience, ever since COVID, there has been this, and I've said this at fucking nauseum. So if there's a recurrent listener listening right now, I'm sorry, but like I believe it to be true. We are going through this fucking renaissance of entertainment here in Albuquerque. Dude, we are. Whether it's like, again, I'm partial to it. So stand-up comedy.
Right.
Or musicians. There's podcasts popping up. There's all these, like, obviously there's like Netflix and like Amazon making movies here and shit. But like community-based, right? There's all these great things. Like the fucking art walk that happens.
Oh, dude.
I can't wait for summer to kick off so I can go to the art walk. Because I have friends that go and make booths there.
Yeah.
And
you can make your own booth too, man.
I've thought about it.
I've had a booth with the pod.
Yeah, I've thought about it. And I really have. I'm just lazy. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
And I don't want to fucking unstick all this and then buy new wires.
But where were you going?
But no.
You're saying,
but yeah, like this is a great time to be a podcaster in Albuquerque and to make connections.
Right.
Because there is this void in all things entertainment right now. Like we have great bands. We have great comics. We have great artists in general, right? But and I've said this to some of in my opinion, the best comedian in Albuquerque, to the best bands in Albuquerque that I've met with, and they agree that even though we have great talent, there isn't the comedian from Albuquerque. There is not the artist, the band, the singer, the anything from Albuquerque right now, because it's all rebuilding.
It's a body. It's a whole body.
It is. It's a community, and that's very New Mexican. Right, it's very Hispanic culture for all of that to be like not one person but a family.
Right.
But eventually, and I really believe this, that there's going to be in the next 5 to 8 years, there will be the person in each category, but they're all growing right now.
Exactly.
And so right now, at least from my experience, and I'll be real, dude, like I've been blessed beyond all measure to be able to make these connections now and to be able to speak to these people, man. Like you yourself, you're in such a great position because these people are dying to tell their story.
Right.
These people want to speak. And I think that's true whether you're a creator of any kind or not. Because I've had people on the podcast, and I'm going to continue to, because I look at my fucking schedule. Like I have people on the podcast who have no visions of grandeur.
Right.
They have no desire to be fucking rock stars, to be comedians, to be these big famous figures. Right. They're just people that either are looking to figure out what they want to do in life, or they have their career or whatever it is. But like, because of how tight knit this community in Albuquerque is, and just New Mexico in general, like this is the time to really be sitting down with people and making connections, dude.
It has, man.
Like this is you're in a good position.
We're at the root.
Yeah,
we're at the root. We can look around us. We could see the potential of everyone.
Yeah,
but it's gonna take a community to make that tree grow.
Yeah,
we're all branched out right now, but the end game, the end goal, is for all of us to be connected in some way. You look at Compton. I mean, I just use that as an example because Compton was nothing for the longest time until Dr. Dre rapped about it, until all these people brought it back home.
Well, there was
I'm just saying, like, Albuquerque has the potential to be the next homegrown city of, like, ground zero.
Well, there was this music video. I forget. It's a Kendrick Lamar music video.
Who?
Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, Kendrick. Shout out to Kendrick. Saw him 2011 at the El Rey.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Damn, 2011?
Yeah. But when Swimming Pools first came out,
yeah,
everyone was top. It was the craziest
holy
concert ever.
shit.
Because no one knew who he was,
So
dude.
I think it was, no, it wasn't. I'm sorry. It was the opening to the trailer to Straight Outta Compton, the movie.
Okay.
And they did this extended opening where it was like a short film, where it had like current, like when that movie was coming out, like current age,
right.
Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, and then they had Kendrick Lamar, and he has this bit in there because he's from Compton,
right.
And he had
like
this bit.
He signed under Dr. Dre. That's the whole thing.
And he had this bit where he was like, yeah, when I was coming up, I didn't really know if I was going to do this. I didn't really know if I was going to be a rapper. But then I saw dudes like Dr. Dre or Ice Cube or Eazy-E come out of Compton. I was like, oh, well, I can be that guy. That's me up there. And I like that has always stuck with me because especially now in the age where like, I don't even know if it's called mumble rap anymore because I don't really keep up with rap very much. But like whatever like the new age of rap is right now, and like
whatever these kids listen
like,
to.
yeah, amongst all of that, Kendrick can drop an album and it's immediately to the top.
Yeah.
Like so, if that type of person at one point felt like I don't know if I can do this or not, that's fucking inspiration to everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
dude, this is the thing, man. Like, this is like to bring it back. Like I said, we're all rooted.
Yeah.
Your podcast, mine, Slums of Harvard, all these, whatever, we're all branched out, right? We're at the core, we're all rooted. One of us is going to take off before the other, whether it's your podcast, whether it's Slums of Harvard, whether it's whoever you said the stand-up comedian is. Dude, I bring it back to Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan had all of his best friends on, and they all came up at different times, but then you give shout-outs. Yo, I made it, but yo, shout-out to OnlyKings podcast. That guy kept it real. He gave me my first voice. Boom. You're shot right back up here with him. It's a community. And I'm just saying this for all New Mexico artists, for all people that we've had on the pod. This is a unit. You know, this is the tree of the 505 life right here, baby.
Yeah.
And it all starts right here in the roots.
No,
and
we're all going to come together. Hopefully, right? As long as you stay consistent.
And we're all getting along, and it's not. And I think in the past, it's been a dog eat dog world.
Yeah. Well, especially here in Albuquerque, because there's like, and I've had people bring this up to me, and I've heard the people talk about it, where it's like, you know, everyone wants you to succeed as long as you stay here.
Right.
But Lord forbid you go somewhere else and you start to make it somewhere else. It's like, oh, what? You're all famous now?
Right.
Allah, so what? You're all cool? Like, what's up, dude?
I don't know why that rang so hard, dude. Like, I've heard that before.
No, am I right though? Yeah. Like, how many people like? Because he's a public servant, right? And so it's in that community because you've told me firsthand. Our friends have told me firsthand where people leave, and it's like, oh, what? Right? There's other people that are namely old heads,
right?
Or they're people that are maybe our age or a couple of years older, and they've made certain life decisions that have kept them here, right? And it's like. So they have that mentality where it's like, well, if I can't succeed, why should they?
Or I'm cheering for you as long as you stay equal or below me.
Exactly.
And as soon as you pass me, then I'm not a fan.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm going to cheer for you, but the moment you become more successful, well, why did you do it and I didn't?
Right.
Like, I forget who the fuck said it, but it was like, you can't get mad for results you didn't work for.
Right. That's the thing, man. That's so huge, man. I don't think that speaks such volumes. How can you complain about someone else's status when you didn't even put the work in?
Yeah.
You know? But to bring it back, like, I hope this is my goal for Albuquerque. And like I said, who knows where our podcast could go. Yeah. You might branch out to Austin. You know, who knows? We might send it.
He listens.
But I'm just saying, no matter where we go, you want to treat everyone like they're your equal or better.
Yep.
You don't want to ever treat anyone like they're below you. Because the second you do that, they're going to despise you and they're going to try and bring you back down. Okay, so everyone you encounter, including our listeners, they're either your equal or above you. I always treat everyone like they're above me, because I don't know. I just think of in the past when people have made me feel lesser than them, I just immediately don't or disregard everything they say.
Well, it's the coach that yells at you, tells you you're not worth anything.
Exactly.
It's the coach that tells you you're not good enough.
Right.
And not even if you don't respond to it, it's just you shell yourself off.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm
Right,
not going
right.
to converse. Like, what's the point?
Dude, the human psychology is so insane, man. I mean, I went to school for business. I'm not even using my degree right now, what I'm doing. But
Fuck, dude, I've got an associate's in criminal justice. All right, I get you.
But as long as we're going, right? No matter, as long as we're going somewhere. But in business, we learned how much of marketing is psychology. It's all psychology. Yeah. And even in life, it's all psychology. The way that people make money, like these people pay multi-million dollars for 30 seconds on a Super Bowl ad just to catch your attention. Psychology. They think we're going to put this. Why would they pay $40 million or how? I'm not saying it's that much. I don't even know.
Look
but I'm just saying it's
what the
that
2023
important.
Super Bowl was for an ad spot, because it was something stupid like $9 million.
Yeah, dude. Insane.
Yeah.
And that just shows how much they know. If these people are putting in that much money into a commercial, they know that business is based off psychology. And that just goes like even with life. It's all psychology. It's all how can you connect to this person. Dude. Oh my God.
I think it said 7 million. Yep. Scroll down.
Wow.
$7 million.
Dude.
And before the pandemic, it was 5.6.
Yeah. That's a lot, man. And it's going to be to 10 next year, I guarantee you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, how can we, and even it comes down to the color. You don't even realize it, but like a commercial, McDonald's, red and yellow. They're the colors that draw your attention. When you're driving by, what's the color you look at? Red. Like subconsciously, you don't realize that's how detailed these people are like playing in your psychology.
And that stuff you learn in elementary school with the primary colors and all that.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Like, I don't like, I'm not going to like take that and use it for my podcast because I don't know.
Next week, I'm going to see your logo changes colors.
Against the grain, bright red. Just kidding. No, man. I want, like, we haven't even made like a YouTube channel, or we haven't even made an Instagram page for our podcast specifically.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you know, it's all through mine and my co-host individually.
Well, personally,
and that,
dude,
part of that's on me, but
I don't blame you for doing it. I'll be real, like, because I saw you guys do it, and then a buddy of mine, Ray, who runs the People's Cup, great fucking guy.
Is that a podcast?
Yeah, it's another really good podcast here in Albuquerque. You should check it out. I'll show you when we get done here. Shout out to Ray, dude. He's the shit. Because we when I last had him on about a month and a half ago, he was talking about how social media was fucking with him. And literally, I think like 3 or 4 days after, he just changed his social media it stopped being him, and it's only his podcast.
Nice.
And honestly, I looked at that and I was like, that's fair.
Right.
Like, he had like, I think at the time he had like 1,000-ish followers on Instagram. Now he's up to like 1,300 or so.
Nice.
So I was like, okay, yeah, like you just took a homegrown following and you were like, no, you just showed all your fans that you don't give a fuck about yourself. You care about what you're creating.
Right.
And that's a great fucking thing. It's like, man,
that is so cool.
I did that. I was like, man, that's awesome. I thought, why did I think of that? You know what I mean? But that's like a real smart way to go about it.
It really is.
So I don't fault you guys for sticking like that. And I mean,
I just don't. I don't know, man. I mean, you and I, it's not like this is our full-time job. There's only a certain amount of time that we're willing to give, and a part of me is just like, you know, I'm only going to do one Instagram account at a time.
Yeah.
This is as much as my brain capacity can handle right now.
It is a pain.
So whether I change it to Against the Grain or keep it what it is, just follow me. You know, if you follow me, follow Josh Griego, you're gonna get the content you want from Against the Grain. And yeah, it's gonna be hard to find, or it's not gonna be as easily accessible, but we're kind of underground. We kind of don't want to be easy to be found. We're not like trying to grab everyone's attention with flashing lights or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We want to start real rooted, and whoever's with us, it's like, where's Against the Grain? Where's Against the Grain? Like, we're working on a website right now to where you can easily access our merch and stuff, but I'm just sitting on it right now. I have the website built, but how much work do I want to put into? Merch is not no joke, man.
It's hard.
If you guys have ever sold merch,
Yes.
it's not easy.
We did me and Jay, we did our own website and we sold merch, and it was a pain in the ass. And then we closed that after 2 months. And I was like, fuck it, I don't want to do that anymore. It's too much of a headache. So then what I did is I went locally to a buddy of mine. His girlfriend runs her own like printing company where she makes like stickers, and now she makes shirts.
That's
and
so
like
sick.
mugs.
Maybe you could connect me with the plug.
Yeah, I'll send you her Instagram. She's the one that made me the stickers and shit.
That's so cool, man.
So I was like, all right, what's the merch that's going to be the least amount of effort for an okay amount of like splash? And I was like, all right, stickers.
Yeah.
Let me go stickers. And those sold like that.
Dude, stickers.
Those sold the fuck out fast. And I was shocked. Like, people I didn't even think listened to the podcast were like, come on. I was like, oh, okay, sounds good.
Every time you take a piss, you see OnlyKings. And Anodyne.
Dude, that's what I want to do. Is like the next
we should go on. Hey, let's make it a goal of mine and your pod when we get the equal amount of stickers. Let's just go on a brewery run and we'll put our stickers.
That's been the
everywhere.
goal, dude. Because I got to.
I have Joey.
I have a sticker now. Because I have a sticker now at Marble downtown because of Carlos.
Yeah.
But that's been the goal. I keep forgetting because I'll go to Anodyne every now and again, and I've been to Launchpad to watch shows, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And every time I'm pissing and I say, I'm like,
right?
I forgot my fucking stickers.
This could be me. Someone could be peeing and thinking of me right now. Jealous,
man. So before we get out of here, this is a great time to do it. Where can people find your podcast? What platforms are you on? And what stuff do you have coming up next?
So first off, our channel, we're only on YouTube. We value video and audio. We just like people to get the full experience. We're on Against the Grain Custom on YouTube. So not Against the Grain Podcast, not ATG Pod, Against the Grain Custom on YouTube. Look it up. We're the first ones that pop up. As far as Instagram goes, Josh Cruz Griego. If you guys look up Josh Cruz Griego, that's the Instagram handle that Noah's been tagging me on. But yeah, look at the screen. And it's such a funny backstory where we're Against the Grain Custom. Like, this is how much little effort we put into our pod, or even from the beginning, is Against the Grain was taken, obviously, or Against the Grain podcast was taken.
Yeah.
And we're just like, oh, well, Against the Grain Custom isn't taken. And we just like went with it. And we just left it. And it is what it is. Our guest soon down the road. We got a new studio. So one cool thing that I will say about our pod, if you guys have watched episode like 1 through 30 or 1 through 35, 1 through 40, every episode is featured a different canvas piece of art.
Yeah.
And we wanted to just make that part of our brand every episode. And we wanted to make that like as part of like a promotion of like local artists to give us new canvas art for each episode. But it came to the point where I literally can't fit any more art in my studio. Like when you're a guest in my pod, every inch of every wall is covered. And so we finally just like, we need to just stick with something because it's getting out of hand. So if you guys look at and have watched the pod, you'll recognize different art for different episodes. We've had a lot of local artists on and stuff, but we're all about just valuing locals. We believe everyone has a story, including yourself, Noah. You're an amazing person. And, we just hope to continue doing what we're doing. Thank you for having me on as a guest. It's been a pleasure, man.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude.
I know we got a little off the rails, went on some tangents, but, we don't go with the grain, right?
That's half the fun, dude. All right. Well, this has been a pleasure. It was great to sit down with you finally. And thank you guys for listening and watching. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you on Against the Grain Custom.
Yes, sir.
Later,
All
bro.
right. It was a fucking pleasure, dude.
Fuck yeah,
This
man.
was awesome.
Yeah.
Roll that outro, son.
Let's go.
Yes, this is good.
Hatch chili.
This was good. In here. It doesn't matter.